to evict you?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Brian Wu is suing his former roommate, Marta Suarez, for unpaid rent and car repairs.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 207 on the calendar, the matter of Wu versus Suarez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Wu, the defendant was your roommate.
Yes.
Along with, this is your fiance?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you become roommates?
We became roommate September 6, 2015. That's when we signed a lease agreement.
And was your fiance a friend of the defendant's? Is that how you met?
They were
Is that
co-worker.
correct? Where did they work?
They work at Barbizon.
What's Barbizon?
It's, from my understanding, it's a talent agency.
What do they do?
They were the talent directors. So they interview kids and put them into programs.
And the three of you signed a lease?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what this case is about. Each of you claim that the other is responsible for breaking the lease. You both want money from each other. You also claim that that took place when you had loaned your car to your fiance, and she says Miss Suarez was driving the car with her permission. But an accident or damage took place, and a whole bunch of other nonsense. So you moved in September 6th, 2015. Your lease is up now. When did you move out?
We moved out June 5th, where we officially turned in the key. We moved out a couple days prior, June 3rd.
Do you have a copy of your lease?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. You had a month's rent and a month's security?
Yes, we paid the security of $600. Our monthly rent was $2,470.61.
So you moved out about 2 months before your lease was up?
A few months, yes, to be exact.
Okay, so of course you lost your month's security. Okay, and how much money? You have a canceled check to the landlord?
Yes.
I'd like to see the canceled check to the landlord, because you say it cost you a whole lot of money to get out of the lease, but you didn't actually get out of the lease if you left a couple of months before.
That was the check for lease cancellation. It was a cashier check made to them.
Just a second. Okay, so you paid the 2 months' rent, which is really what you paid to leave early. Where did you go? And you want
to stay at Purple's relative's place.
Okay, so you went to your fiance's relatives. Is that where you still are?
Yes.
And is your fiance still working at the same agency as the defendant?
No.
When did she leave that agency?
February of 2016.
And where is she working now?
She's currently unemployed due to her pregnancy. Yeah.
Well, she wasn't pregnant in February.
No.
Oh, no, she wasn't.
Why did she leave work in February?
Their work had a workforce downsizing, so she was let go.
Let go.
Yeah.
And she didn't get another job after that?
She did. So afterwards, she went to work for Posh PR as an intern. They were a clothing agency, and Marta later on was employed there as the main sales rep. So that's when they went on the trip to San Francisco.
Listen,
sorry.
That's more information than I needed.
Sure.
I just asked you, she went to work someplace else after February. Until when?
Until, I would say, May. When May happens, that's when she stopped working.
So, when did you move out of the apartment?
I didn't move out. I'm still there.
You're still there?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. And when did you last pay rent?
When they left me.
No. When did you last pay rent in the apartment, Miss Suarez?
Okay.
I mean, I can call the landlord and find out. Why don't you tell me?
Yes.
Give me the month that you last paid rent.
Okay.
Paid rent in May, so you're a squatter. Yeah, good. Okay.
Last month.
Sure, just a second.
That's not true.
Just for my own information, before I figure out how much you owe them, I would like you to tell me why you think you're entitled to live someplace without paying rent.
Why they left me.
No, why you think that you're entitled to live someplace without paying rent.
Without paying rent, no.
Any rent.
I offer myself to pay my part, that we sign a lease, all three together.
No, just listen to me. Pay careful attention to me. I want to know, when was the last month you paid any rent to the landlord?
April.
Was that in April?
In April.
Was the last...
April, May. Because we are due from June.
Shh. would you explain to me why the last time you paid rent in April, that's May, June, July, August, and now we're 5 months later and you haven't paid any rent to the landlord?
The last time that I paid rent honor to the landlord was May.
That's what I'm asking you. Well, why are
May.
you...
Yeah.
My question is, and if I'm not going to ask it
No,
again,
the thing is like
I'm not
that.
going to ask it again.
Yeah.
Why do you think you are entitled to live someplace without paying rent?
I'm not paying rent because they left me the apartment.
Okay.
And I cannot afford it.
You have to pay something in rent.
Yes,
You're
and I
living
want to
there.
pay my part. That's why I'm here today.
Just a second.
I want to pay part of my rent.
Well, you
my
pay,
part,
very,
my part,
very
not their
good.
part.
Very good. You're going to pay it to them. How much was your part of the rent that you were supposed to pay?
My part, it was $600.
$600.
Yes.
Just a second. Is that correct?
That is correct.
$600, and she hasn't paid rent in 5 months.
4
That's
months.
$3,000 so far. Now, you got out of the lease, correct? And you paid a total of $46.31, which means that $46.31 less $3,000, which she actually owes you, $1,631 so far on the rent. Now, the next thing I want to know from you is about the car.
Okay.
Very quickly, you weren't present when the car was damaged.
No.
Okay. You were present when the car was damaged?
No, Your Honor.
You were present when the car was damaged? Nobody was
I didn't.
present when the car was damaged. She says she wasn't present when the
The
car
car
was...
was...
Has the landlord moved to evict you?
Yes,
Oh, good. Perfect.
of course. Or do you think that I'm living there for free?
Better listen to this reasoning, okay? So far, all you paid was like $1,600 to get out of the lease, because I'm going to give you $3,000 from her.
Thank you, ma'am.
She's got to pay rent to somebody.
Right.
Might as well be to you.
Thank you.
Great. Now, you want to tell me how the car got damaged? Your fiancé loaned you the car. You and the defendant went on a trip.
Yes, we went
Pick
to...
it up from there.
We went to San Francisco, and then on our way back, I was feeling really sick already because of my pregnancy. So she took the car with the merchandise to Posh PR, where we used to intern, and she was a sales rep. Now, she called telling me that the car was hit and even sent me a photo through text.
I'd like to see it.
This was the quote. This is my...
Well, it seems clear that a car hit the car, right?
Right. I don't know what happened.
And you don't know what happened.
No, she just called us, and then she said it was hit and that she was willing to pay for the damages.
Well, show me where she said she was willing to pay for the damage.
It was during a phone conversation right
Well,
after.
Why would she say she was willing to pay for the damage if someone hit the car?
In the phone, she said, "Don't worry about it. I got this guy. I think is Juan."
I don't believe a word you say. Great. Okay.
At the time, I was also thinking about calling my own insurance to get it fixed. But then again, since she said she was going to fix it, so I thought it's either I report to my insurance, raise that $1,000.
I don't care.
Okay.
Anything else you have to tell me? Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000 for the rent. Your counterclaims dismissed. We're done.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Police were involved. They were called due to one of her drunken rage,
Oh, they are so funny. Yeah.
and we had to file a restraining order. But
It was a case that was denied,
because the mix-up from the apartment properties,
and they don't want to pay rent. They're going to leave me with everything,
we weren't able to get out of our lease
and they are still over other things.
at the time, with that restraining order. But it all turns out.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Compton versus Pryor. Step forward.
24-year-old Caitlin Compton is suing her neighbor, Mandy Pryor, for vet bills after Mandy's pit bull attacked her chihuahua.
Ms. Crumpton, it is your claim that your dog was injured by the defendant's dog.
Yes,
Your dog
ma'am.
was a leashed pet being walked at the time by, I assume, this young lady who was your daughter. Miss Pryor's dog was being walked by your daughter. Your dog actually ran into her apartment, and her dog, being a protective dog, got into a confrontation, but it was your dog that was on her premises. We'll see. Could you stand up, please? Tell me your name.
Clea.
Why don't you come up here so I can hear you better and see you better? You look too little over there. And you sit next to me. while I ask your mom some questions, okay?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Now, when Snickers came over to you, tell me what happened with Hennessy.
He took him and ripped him off his leash and then started shaking him like right here, and my mom ran down the stairs, and that's when he finally let go.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Caitlin Compton says neighbor Mandy Pryor owes for vet bills after Mandy's pit bull attacked her chihuahua.
Now, how long have you had your dog, and what kind of dog is it?
He's a purebred Chihuahua, and I've had him for 6.5 years.
How much does he weigh?
About 13 pounds.
Well, that's a healthy Chihuahua.
Well, he's a little overweight. He's a personal vacuum. We have a 3-year-old, so he gets his fair share.
And you're allowed to walk the dog. Have you been walking Hennessy?
When I just turned 8, I was allowed to walk the dog.
And when did you turn 8?
I turned 8 in April.
And Ms. Compton, could you tell me when this incident happened with the defendant's dog?
Yeah, it was actually on June 11th at about 11:45. We were getting ready for my...
Just a minute. So you'd been walking the dog for a while, for several months. And when you walk Hennessy with a leash, of course.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. Do you know Miss Pryor's dog?
Yes, it's a pit bull, and it has brown and white spots, and its name is Snickers.
Before June, you had seen Snickers, because you're neighbors, right? You live in the same complex?
Yeah.
When you see Snickers, is anybody with him?
No.
Where is he?
He's usually standing under the stairs, because they live under us, so he's usually standing, like, under the stairs.
By himself?
Yes.
Is he attached to a leash?
No.
Have you ever had trouble with Snickers before?
Not really, but sometimes, like, when we walk up the stairs, he'll be under there, and then he'll, like, growl at us and stuff like that.
Okay, so Miss Pryor lives in the apartment right below yours?
Mm-hmm.
And did you see this incident happen?
I did. My window is like perfect view, and so I was watching from my couch out the window the whole time. I actually have pictures where I was at when I was watching out the window and how far it is from my door.
Okay, standing where your house is.
Mm-hmm. I was standing right here, and...
You can move on the other side and use your other hand so that I can see you, because you're sort of blocking the view. That a girl. So show me where your house is. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
And show me where you were walking Hennessy. Is that grass?
Yes.
And can you show me where you were with Hennessy when Snickers came out and met you?
I was right here.
And did you see Miss Pryor?
Yeah, she was sitting right here.
What was she sitting on?
She was sitting on the sidewalk.
And can you show me where Snickers usually sits when you say you see him sitting?
Behind the stairs.
Okay. So on this day in June, Miss Pryor was on the sidewalk and Snickers was with her at first.
No, she was sitting outside, and then he ran outside.
From where?
Their house.
So the door was open. Now, when Snickers came over to you, tell me what happened with Hennessy.
I was standing there, and Snickers ran out of the house and, like, stared at him for a minute, and then he took him and ripped him off his leash and then started shaking him, like, right here, and then he got a better grip on him, and then my mom ran down the stairs and lunged at Snickers, and that's when he finally let go.
At any time, did Hennessy go into Miss Pryor's house?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, sit down.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Does your dog have to wear a muzzle now?
Now she does, yeah.
And how much does your 2-year-old weigh?
35, 40 pounds.
This dog can do a lot of damage. I would be super careful.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Caitlin Compton says neighbor Mandy Pryor owes for vet bills after Mandy's pit bull attacked her chihuahua.
Now, when did you get this dog?
A couple of weeks before this happened.
Where did you get the dog from?
From this lady in the valley.
Did you buy
Yeah.
the dog from her? How old is Snickers?
3.
3 years old. How much did you pay for the 3-year-old dog?
$20.
So she really gave the dog to you.
Pretty much.
Did you have a discussion as to why she was getting rid of Snickers?
Yeah, she said that she got stuck with a different dog, and then she wanted to find Snickers a different home.
You have children?
I do.
You want to tell me your version of the events of that day?
Okay, well, I was sitting inside. Sorry.
You're sitting
I
inside.
was sitting inside, opened my door to smoke a cigarette, and Hennessy ran in on an extender leash, and my dog chased him out and caught him just inside the door, and then they tussled over to the grass area that Kalia was talking about, and Snickers did pick him up and shake him, but I broke up the fight shortly after that.
Does your dog have to wear a muzzle now?
Now she does, yeah.
So you really know nothing about this dog's 3-year history?
No.
Can I see your vet bills, please?
Yeah, of course. So, there's actually, because I had to make payments, but they weren't able to put it like all total of what it was at the end of the day, but all the receipts are broken down to where it shows how much I paid each time I was there. And all of my invoices and everything, they're all in line.
The date of this incident was June 11th?
Yes, ma'am. And I had to take him up like every 2 days to get rebandaged.
Do you have any pictures of the dog?
I do.
I'd like to see them.
These are actually all of the, these are the only pictures I was able to get because he had 3 bandage changes before this one. This is the only one I was able to do at home myself to get pictures. And so they were actually way worse. There was one of the drain tubes that were removed or fell out in this picture.
How old are your children, Miss? Does your 2-year-old weigh?
35, 40 pounds.
This dog can do a lot of damage. I'm just letting you know, you don't know the history of this 3-year-old pit bull. I would be super careful.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I don't believe you that the dog ran into your house. I want you to start with that premise. But even if it's true that the Chihuahua came to your door and came into your door, because I think that if you were smoking a cigarette,
I hadn't lit it yet.
doesn't matter. I believe her when she says you were sitting outside smoking a cigarette and the door was open. That's what happened. You were sitting outside on the curb smoking a cigarette. The dog came running out. The dog grabbed a hold of their dog, and that's what happened. That's what she's going to testify if she would have testified, but I absolutely believe her daughter. And what I'm suggesting to you is, you know, sometimes you buy a puppy and it's a big dog and something happens with that dog that is unexpected. But when you buy a dog and you don't know the history of that dog and the dog can cause this kind of damage, I would be super careful. What did you do with the dog?
I got rid of him to a gentleman who lives in Idaho.
When?
A month after this happened.
Have any problem in your house?
No.
There was no problem. So what made you get rid of the dog?
Because I was being harassed.
It's probably the same reason that the woman gave the dog to you. So, gotta be careful. But I'm glad, hopefully the dog found a home and a family where there were,
Acreage to run on. She got acreage to run on.
Good. Okay, you owe the plaintiff $800. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm actually just excited to get my money back, and you know, we've had to pay all the vet bills and everything. We just wanted to be reimbursed. That's all we really wanted to do.
Well, I don't think it's very fair. I told my side of the story. She just didn't believe me. Just not a lot I can do about it.
Thank goodness it wasn't my kids. Like, I was scared, like so petrified. Like, that's the only thing that I was thinking. Like, that's why I rushed down as fast as I could.
I was the one that was out there risking my hands breaking them up.
You know, and I was actually the one that kind of like helped get, you know, my dog.
I slapped Snickers on the butt.
So if I wouldn't have like happened, it probably would have gotten a lot worse.
It's non-existent. You don't talk anymore.
He's way better. He's really skittish. It's kind of sad, like really sad.
I hope we can just get over it. Go back.
I'm just glad he's okay.
A driver's road rage takes a detour.
He followed me to the gas station, and I was getting ready to call the police, and he got out and rolled my window up really fast.
You say he revved up his car and tried to run you down.
Will he hit a dead end with the judge?
I would have reacted the same way you says he reacted.
By running someone down in a parking lot?
Sir, if there's a choice between hurting me and hurting you, you're getting it, not me.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Bo Shattuck and his mother Roxanne Merriman are suing motorist Todd Duplessis for kicking their car during an incident of road rage.
Order. All rise. This is case number 542 on the calendar in the matter of Shattuck Merriman versus Duplessis. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Were you in the car?
No.
Sit. Thank you. You are?
I'm Bo Shattuck.
Okay. Duplessis.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Shattuck, it is your claim that the defendant, subsequent to my kicking it, Mr. Duplessis tells a different story, so I'm going to start with him.
Okay.
Mr. Duplessis, on what date did this incident happen?
Oh, I don't know the exact date. Hold on, ma'am. I have the police report right here. Looks like November 6, 2013.
What time, Mr. Duplessis?
It was about 11:30, quarter to 12.
Morning?
Morning, yes, ma'am.
Where were you going to or coming from?
I was coming from school, heading home for lunch break.
Whose school?
I'm a student at South Puget Sound Community College.
What else do you do?
I'm retired military.
Okay. Why don't you tell me what happened?
I was in the left-hand lane on Black Lake Boulevard.
How many lanes of traffic are there?
There's two.
Go ahead.
Mr. Shattuck then approached in the right-hand lane at a high...
So he came up to you in the right-hand lane?
Yes, ma'am. It was me, and there was a little green Toyota in front of me. He pulled up next to the little green Toyota, then started to merge into that lane, pushing that green Toyota into opposing traffic. That vehicle pulled back, trying to get out of that traffic. He then slowed down to try to do it to me. Unfortunately, I drive a Chevy Silverado. I'm not going to budge. At that moment, we were approaching a stoplight.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
So he was drifting over
Yes,
in
ma'am.
front of the little green car.
Yes, ma'am.
And the little green car came back.
Yes, ma'am.
And then he was...
Me into opposing traffic.
What was he driving?
He was driving a little red Hyundai.
So he's driving a small car.
Yes, ma'am.
So he's trying to push a big Silverado
Yes, ma'am.
into the lane. How old are you?
I am 43.
Did you ever stop to think maybe there was something wrong with the driver?
Well,
No,
ma'am.
You didn't.
No.
You just thought that the little red Hyundai was trying to muscle over your Silverado.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then what happened?
We were approaching a stoplight at the intersection. The little green Toyota in front of me started to brake. All of a sudden, Mr. Shattuck sped up and cut right in front of the green Toyota, causing it to slam on its brakes, me to slam on its brakes, drove across 2 lanes of opposing traffic into a convenience store parking lot.
So he pulls in front of
the little
green
Toyota
car,
in front of me. Yes, ma'am.
pulls in front of you into a convenience store gas station.
Yes, ma'am.
And stops.
He pulled in behind the pump. Yes, ma'am.
No, he didn't pull up at a pump, sir. He pulled up around the pump and just
Yes, ma'am.
stayed
Yes,
there.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's like I was there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, just so that I'm perfectly clear, based upon what you tell me, the person in the little red Hyundai
Yes, ma'am.
was driving erratically
Yes, ma'am.
and had removed himself from at least your harm's way and came to a complete stop.
Yes, ma'am.
So you do what any other normal driving erratically, according to you, placing somebody else in danger. You follow them.
Yes, ma'am.
So you follow him, stopped your car,
Yes, ma'am.
and then you do what any other normal person would do who's not looking for a confrontation. You get out of your car. I'm really reading from your answer, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's your answer, not his complaint. It's your answer. You pull up to the person in the little red Hyundai, stop your car, get out of your car, and walk up to the Hyundai.
No, ma'am.
Oh, that's what you told me, sir. You said you got out of your car to walk up closer. The excuse you gave was, I wanted to see his license plate because I wanted to report him to the police that he was driving erratically. I'm saying just what you swore to, sir.
Yes, ma'am, but
Just
I
what you
was
swore-
40 yards away from that vehicle.
Just what you swore to. You were 40 yards away?
Rough about that. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Now, Mr. Shattuck, you want to tell me your version of what happened on the 6th of November at about 11:30 in the morning?
I'd love to, Your Honor. I was headed down the street that we were speaking of, and I stopped at the light and noticed this big black truck in my rearview mirror flashing its lights, and I seen an arm waving out the window, and I was like, what happened, you know? So I was headed...
Just tell me, you were headed to the 7-Eleven store?
I was headed to Texaco.
Did you need gas? Is that why you were pulling in?
Yes, Your Honor, yes.
Okay.
So as I was kept going, he would, slow down a little bit and then, vroom, accelerate right to my bumper and then let me get ahead a little bit and accelerate, flashing his lights and stuff. And so I was kind of nervous, And so when I pulled in the gas station, at this point, the reason for me pulling in the gas station has changed at that point. And he followed me into the gas station, and I was getting ready to call the police, and then I seen him backing up. And there was, because you get in the Texaco like this, and he stopped in front of me, so I couldn't really back up. And he got out, and I rolled my window up really fast, and I said, "I'm calling the police," Or no, pardon me, he kicked the car, came around and kicked my car, rolled my window up. I wasn't sure if he was going to kick the window or the car or what. So then he kicked the car really hard enough the whole car rocked. So then I went back and indicated that I was going to call the police, and he backed up and waited for the police to show up.
Can I see pictures of your car?
Sure.
Also like to see a police report. Now that, Mr. Duplessis, is where your stories diverge. Because according to you, you say that when you got out of your car, you were 40 yards away from him.
Yes, ma'am.
And he revved up his car and tried to...
Report.
I'm going to read the police report right now.
On page 3.
Shh, don't tell me, but...
Yeah, sorry,
don't
yes,
tell
ma'am.
me.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize.
I interviewed Duplessis first.
Yes, ma'am.
He told me that he had been driving northbound on Black Lake Boulevard when Shattuck's vehicle changed lanes quickly in front of him and slammed on the brakes.
Well, he abbreviated...
Don't tell me what he abbreviated. This is the interview. I'm reading from the reporting officer's narrative. You have a different one?
He abbreviated my statement, ma'am.
Just a second. I'm reading.
Yes, ma'am, I understand, but my statement of what I gave him the day when they investigated the incident explains the whole thing about the green vehicle in front of me and everything, ma'am.
I would like to take a look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
If this is the abbreviation, I want to see the original. Fine.
And I also have a copy of Mr. Shattuck's statement.
Shh. Bird, would you show this to Mr. Duplessis, please? This is his sworn answer. I assume, Mr. Duplessis, that when you filled out that answer here, when you swore to it, you tried to be as honest with me as you could, because it's a sworn deposition, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like you to point anywhere in that deposition where he was driving erratically.
It doesn't, ma'am.
It sure doesn't. It says you got out of the car to look at his license plates.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. It's not what you told the police. You told the police you got out of the car and approached his vehicle in order to ask him what he was doing and why he was driving that way.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
But he also falsified his statement, too, Your Honor.
I don't care, sir. Let me explain. Let me explain what your problem is, Mr. Duplessis.
Yes, ma'am.
You can either look for trouble or you can walk away from it. You chose to look for it.
Unfortunately, ma'am, I'm sorry.
You chose to look for it.
Yes, ma'am. I got a 17-year-old daughter on the road with people like him that are going to kill her, and I'm not going to allow that. Sorry, Your Honor.
I want to tell you something. I have 5 children and 13 grandchildren. That's the most ridiculous answer I ever heard.
Whatever, ma'am.
Most ridiculous answer, because you had your choice. You could have said goodbye.
No, ma'am. I can't do that.
Hey, well, you can't do that, and that's why you're here, and that's why you're in trouble, because you're a hothead. Because there was no reason why you had to get out of your car. If you wanted to get his license plate and report it to the police, you can do that while inside your car. You pick up the phone, I assume you have one, and you call the police and you say, there is somebody driving erratically, he's in a red Hyundai, and this is the license plate. You don't get out of the car.
I can answer that, Your Honor.
You're a hothead. You can't answer it. There's no answer to that. You got out of the car. A question, depending upon when you gave the information. Whatever it is, you're in a big car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're a bit quiet.
But he lied on his statement, Your Honor. He's lying to you in this courtroom.
Just a second.
I have never lied to anyone.
Just a second. I'm listening to what you tell me. I'm not even paying attention to him. Pay careful attention, Mr. Duplessis.
Would you like to read his statement to the police department?
Listen to me very carefully, sir. I'm listening to what you told me, not what he told me. I think he's driving erratically. He wanted to go to the gas station and nobody would let him in. The little green car wouldn't let him in, and you wouldn't let him in. 2 cars wouldn't let him in, and he wanted to go to the gas station all the way over to the left. That's what he told me today. Didn't tell me that in his complaint. That's not the point. The point is you can either avoid a confrontation or not. And you had the ability to accomplish exactly what you say you wanted to accomplish, to protect your daughter, to protect your mother, to protect your sister, by getting on the phone, calling the police and saying, red Honda, this license plate, driving erratically, currently at the gas station. That's not what you did. You got out of your car, and once you got out of your car, you presented a threat. Because
if you read the report, Your Honor, the police report clearly states on the
Mr. Yell, I'm looking at you, sir, and let me tell you something. Mr. Duplessis, if I were driving a car and went from one side to another because I wanted to get to Bloomingdale's, and I drove what you consider to be erratically because I cut somebody off, I didn't see him and cut him off, or I did see him and cut him off, and I saw your car, your Silverado, and I'm driving my little convertible, and you pull up in front of me where I'm stopped, and your Hulk gets out of the car and starts to come towards me, according to you, what you told the police, to ask him a question, I would have reacted the same way you said he reacted.
By running someone down in a parking lot?
Sir, if there was a choice between hurting me and hurting you, you're getting it, not me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
tell me what she was saying to egg you on.
She said, go for it, you can do it, my car will beat him. And I went for it the entire time she was yelling, just egging on the race and having a good time.
Now, do you know whether or not Miss Grove had ever done drag racing herself?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
As Todd Duplessis kicked his car during an incident of road rage. Todd denies the charge and is countersuing for reckless endangerment.
So you're responsible for the damage to his car? Because I think you kicked it. Not a think. I know you kicked it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,100. Your counterclaims dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, she made the right decision.
He's a menace on the road, and I don't care what Judge Judy says, I would do it again.
It was frightening.
Because people like him need to be reported. They need to find out what's going on. The police shouldn't just stand by and let him go.
And I could only imagine if, he was to do that to my mother or somebody, who was more frightened.
I have a 17-year-old daughter to protect, and people like him that kill innocent kids.
When he was back behind me, when he came, everything, from the time that he was in the truck.
Before the court step in and stop him from doing it, that's the problem I have.
To the time that he got out and kicked the car. And right then I wasn't sure if he was going to kick the window or kick the car or what.
The court systems are wrong. I'm sorry.
I'll probably do the same thing. I think I did all the best that I could.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Grove versus Lowe. Step forward.
18-year-old Brittany Grove is suing her former friend, 21-year-old Brandon Lowe, for destroying her car's engine during a...
Visualize what your complaint is. You know the defendant.
Yes.
You were out for an evening. A group of you was going to go to a garage to watch something that had to do with cars. Are you a car enthusiast?
No.
You were just going along for the party.
Yes.
And it was your car that was being driven.
Yes.
But for whatever reason, you allowed the defendant to drive your car.
Yes.
And what night was this?
It was technically December 29th, early morning, December 30th.
And at some point, Mr. Lowe, who was driving, engaged in some drag racing with some friends, correct?
Yes.
Correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And this drag race lasted for about 3 minutes. You lost.
Correct.
And you had been drag racing before, so you knew what that entailed.
Professionally, yes, Your Honor.
Professionally drag racing.
Correct.
And when you professionally drag race, you professionally drag in what kind of car?
Typically, it is classic muscle cars that have been built to handle the wear of a drag race.
And the car that you were driving, Miss Grove's car, is not one of those cars.
No, ma'am.
What kind of car was Miss Grove's car?
It was a Saturn.
A Saturn. Lovely, safe little car, not designed to do major drag racing.
Correct.
And I just want you to explain for those of us, including myself, drag racing involves going very fast.
At the drag strip, it can be anywhere from 100 miles per hour to 200 miles per hour plus.
How fast were you going in Miss Grove's car?
80 miles per hour, ma'am.
How old was your car, Miss Grove?
My car is an 02 Saturn.
So your car is an old car?
Yes.
When did you purchase it?
I purchased it last February.
And how many miles did it have on it?
When I bought it, it had 198,000 on
So 200,000 miles. Now, when you finished this drag race, the engine blew on her car.
It did not fully blow up. It began making a strange noise a couple of miles after we were done racing.
And after that, it required a new engine.
Yes.
And you want Mr. Lowe to pay for the engine.
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want you to start banging your head on the table and don't stop until I tell you.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, thank you, why? I'm egging you on. I'm saying to you, it would be pleasurable for me to see you banging your head against the table.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Brittany Grove says former friend Brandon Lowe destroyed the engine of her car during a drag race. Brandon claims he had Brittany's permission to race the vehicle.
Now, Mr. Lowe's defense is that you were in the back seat and you were...
That is not true, Your Honor.
I'm telling you, that's his defense. Well, whether it's true or not, that's his defense. So your defense is, despite the fact that I knew it was dangerous, because drag racing is dangerous, right?
It is, Your Honor.
And despite the fact that I knew that this car was not designed for drag racing, I did it because the plaintiff who owned the car was egging me on.
Correct.
Tell me what she was saying to egg you on.
When the race initially got initiated, Jason pulled up next to us, and I looked over to her, and she said, "Go for it, you can do it, my car will beat him." And I went for it the entire time. She was yelling, putting her arm out the window, just egging on the race and having a good time.
Do you know, Mr. Lowe, whether or not Miss Grove had ever done drag racing herself?
No, Your Honor, but I do know. This is my witness, Matthew Brown. He was with them prior in the night when they were drifting, which also does a very high strain on the vehicle.
We're not talking about the night before. We're talking about December 30th, early in the morning.
Correct.
How old are you, Mr. Lowe?
I'm 21.
And what do you do?
I work with the autistic.
So you know how to follow directions.
Absolutely.
Good. Just move over a little bit on the table.
Okay.
I want you to start banging your head on the table and don't stop until I tell you. No, listen to me. I'm egging you on. I want you to start banging your head against that. Mr. Lowe, you can stop now.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, thank you, why? I'm giving you a direction. I'm egging you on. I'm saying to you, it would be pleasurable for me to see you banging your head against the table until I tell you to stop, until Bird and I have finished our conversation.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you wouldn't do that because it would be dangerous.
Yes.
So a 21-year-old man who knows that something is potentially dangerous and potentially harmful wouldn't engage in that conduct unless there was something wrong with them.
Correct.
Is there anything wrong with you?
There is not.
Good. How much is it going to cost for a new engine?
I already paid for it, Your Honor.
How much was it?
It was $18.13.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Thank you.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Brandon went on the other side of the road and started racing Jason.
It was a mistake that I made to race her vehicle. However,
And just kept going and kept getting faster.
I do not feel that I should have had to pay it.
He was the one actually drifting the vehicle.
They pulled up next to me and started revving their engine, and
I was scared. She told him to stop. I did not.
the racing community typically means that they would like to drag race.
He just told me to be quiet because he knows what he's doing.
She was very, very excited.
Absolutely not.
She was egging me on, telling me to go faster, telling me to get into it more.
No, I did not encourage him at all.
There is no friendship anymore.
Not to let people drive my car.
So far, you're squatters who stayed 2 months without paying rent.
Freeloading tenants have a lot to say.
She told us that she didn't want any money from us at all.
She wanted you out.
Housing told us our rights. Wait for her to try to evict us.
But the time for talk is over.
The two of you were idiots for staying there.
We had no choice.
This is a free America. What do you mean you had no choice?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ramalda Ione is suing her former tenants, Patrick Valdivia Minsal and girlfriend Rachel Bachakis, and Patrick's father, from a false arrest and property damage.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 116 on the calendar in the matter of Ion versus Valdivia, Minsal, Bachakis, Valdivia. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
What is your last name?
Valdivia Mensal.
And yours?
Valdivia.
Who was a tenant in this house? You can sit down. I didn't think you were a tenant. Just the two of you were tenants in the house. These were your tenants?
Yes.
They had an oral lease or a written lease?
We actually have a written lease.
I'd like to see it.
Thank you.
Well, it just says that she received $600 to rent a room at this address. They will be moving in on January 2015 between 1st or the 5th. Deposit. I need 2 weeks' notice of change of plans to have a full refund. And you signed it.
Yes.
Okay, this is what the case is about. You claim that they had you falsely arrested. So there is an oral lease. Rent was $600 a month. You moved in January. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
January of 2015. When did you move out?
February.
Of 2000.
Wanted you to move out. What month?
September.
In September.
I actually have.
Yeah, she has a paper.
Good. So between the time you moved in, which was January 2015, and the time you were notified that she wanted you to leave, which was in September.
Right.
After we asked for repairs.
It's just September.
Yes, September.
2015. Between those periods of time, you paid rent.
Yes.
In what amount?
$600.
Your Honor, they pay you.
Shh. I'm figuring this case out myself.
Sure.
After September of 2015, when she notified you that she would like you to be out by the 15th of October, and she sent this to you on September 15th, did you pay October's rent?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Shh. The answer is yes. May I see it?
Yes.
We show them all.
October's rent paid on October 15th.
Yes.
Did you pay November's rent?
Yes.
May I see it?
Yes.
You paid that on November 20th.
Yes.
Did you pay December's rent?
No, we did not. But
Okay.
No.
You did not pay December's rent?
No. She told us that she didn't want any money from us at all.
Just a second.
Okay.
No, she wanted you out on October 15th.
We have a text message saying that she wants us out, that she doesn't want a penny for us for utilities or rent.
Just a second.
Okay.
Listen to me carefully. I'm going to take a look at that.
Okay.
She's already served you with a 30-day notice to leave.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Okay.
September 15th, she served you. This is your evidence, a notice to leave. You did not leave on October 15th. You paid rent on October 15th. You got a letter from your landlord. Due to different circumstances, I will be moving out by 30th September. She told you you were renting a room, correct? New people will be moving in on October 1st. I am sorry, but I need you to please move out by the 15th of October. I am giving you a month's notice so you have enough time to clear out everything. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. All right, that's what she sent you. So instead of moving out, you stayed October 15th and you stayed the whole month of November.
Yes.
And then December, you were still there. Pay attention to me. I'm creating in my own head. Put your hand down. I didn't ask you a question. You just told me was she said, I don't want you to pay any more rent or utilities. I just want you out. That's what you just told me.
Yes, that was January.
That's what you just told me. So you neither paid rent, nor utilities, nor did you move in December. Is that right?
No.
Good. So you didn't move in December. And in January, did you pay rent?
No.
No. And did you move?
We moved February when she told us to.
No, she told you to move in October.
May I speak? She jumps back and forth a lot. She would come say, have a problem with us. She'll talk to the mediators, and she'd be like, oh, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. We're all family. That's why we were really confused with her then. When she found out about the housing...
You weren't confused about not paying rent.
She did it out of retaliation, though, because we called the housing services on her.
Who cares?
We had rent for...
You ate the steak.
She deposited our rent checks.
You went in to the restaurant, you ordered a steak, you tasted it. You said, I've had better steak. You didn't give it back. You finished the steak, and then you said to the owner of the restaurant, I'm not paying for the steak. I didn't like it.
May I?
You can tell me anything you like, but you ate the steak. You, and is this your wife or girlfriend?
This is my girlfriend.
This is your girlfriend. You
but
and your
she told
girlfriend.
us that she didn't want any more money, though. She said that she didn't want to go through an eviction. She didn't want to go through an eviction. That our housing told wait for her to try to evict us.
And she explained that we could stay. I mean...
And she told us that she cannot charge us for utilities on an illegal unit when it's a single-family dwelling.
Listen to me. You don't like the steak? Move.
I did.
You didn't move.
I was waiting for her to pick up...
Just a second. You stayed and you ate the steak December and January, and you didn't pay for the steak. You stayed there and you ate it. And you lived there perfectly fine and paid rent. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. All of a sudden, when she told you you had to move, she sent you a very nice letter. Now, this is what the case is about. I'm just trying to figure out who you are. So far, you're squatters who stayed 2 months without paying rent.
That's not true.
Now what I want to know is, when you filed for an order of protection, what month and year did you file for an order of protection against her? And I want to see the basis that you put in.
It was January 22nd, 2016.
January. Okay, now in January 22nd, you already had not paid rent in December. You had not paid rent in January. Now I want to see what you filed. Put your hand down. And take your hand off his thigh.
She moved out of, and we couldn't find her, so how is it my responsibility to find her to pay her rent?
She gave us letters saying that she didn't want the rent, she just wanted us to move out to avoid an issue with the thing. Because she knew we talked to housing, and housing told us our issue, our rights.
Okay, well...
December's check. She didn't pick it up, you guys paid it. If you don't tell her, you're gonna lose. Say excuse me.
Excuse me, she didn't pay, we paid December, but we still have it. I mean, she didn't come and collect it.
And then she told us she didn't want it.
And she purposefully did that, so she didn't have to...
I'm reading what you filed in here.
I understand.
You know what you filed in here?
Yes, I do.
Ah.
Yes, I do.
Patrick needs protection because Romalda has been harassing him verbally and tried opening his front door, threatening him to throw him and my property out. Then she says, November, she threatened me after she asked you to move, and my boyfriend, saying we had to leave. That doesn't sound equivocal to me. Or else she would change the locks on us and throw our property out. Today, January 2nd, she ran up to my car, waited outside for me, opened up my door without my consent, grabbed me and threatened me. Now I want you to tell me about that. I want you to tell me on January 26th.
I was leaving my property at like 8 a.m. and she was in the backyard cleaning because she didn't live at the property, but she was still cleaning the backyard up. I was walking out and she comes up to me, and it's already been arranged that she wouldn't speak to me because I told her I felt uncomfortable. That's why she speaks to Javier. She doesn't speak, I mean, we don't understand each other.
You understood each other before October.
Not very clearly.
Before October. Well, then you're an idiot for staying there.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The family friend, you went to housing to get her into...
To fix the property that was damaged. We had water coming through our walls. My girlfriend had bronchitis for months. We had a sink that was full of water that she would not fix.
Go like this. Go like this. Go like this.
Yeah.
Get a job and move.
And later today...
She answered, and I had my hand on my chin, and I said, "Did you lose your dog?" And she said, "Yes." "Did you find him?" I said, "Yeah, he's in your garage." And he bit my face. And she said, "Marshmallow bit your face?" And I said, "Yes, Marshmallow bit my face."
That's why we're here.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Romaldo Ayon says former tenants Patrick Valdivia Menzel and girlfriend Rachel Bachakis owe for a false arrest and property damage.
Okay, the two of you were idiots for staying
homeless.
there.
We had
just a second. What do you mean you had no choice?
We had no choice. It was a family
We're
friend.
young.
She
Just
offered
a second.
place.
We don't have a lot of money.
I want to tell you something. You both sound ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Thank God.
This is a free America. If you're not getting along with the family friend, go someplace else. You look like two able-bodied people. So before October, you had no problem with her. In October,
we
when
had
she
problems
told...
with her since day one.
Then you should have moved.
We were planning on to, Your Honor.
Planning.
Yes, we plan on
planning.
We have our rights as tenants. We cannot be harassed by a landlord. We have rights as tenants. When we talk to people from housing, they told us, wait for them to evict us.
Don't tell me what... Listen.
That's what they told us. They had an investigation on it for a single-family housing, renting it out to 3 different units. That was illegal.
Right. So now the family friend you went to housing to get her into
fix the property that was damaged. We had water coming through our walls. My girlfriend had bronchitis for months. We had a sink that was full of water that she would not fix.
Go like this. Go like this. Go like this. Go like this.
Yeah.
Get a job and move.
I do have a job. I do have a job. I work very hard for my job.
Very good. And what about her? Does she work?
She's going to school. I'm helping her.
I did work.
Go to school.
When I lived there, I did work.
Then if you have 2 able-bodied people, nobody has to live.
And nobody deserves to be harassed. Nobody deserves to be harassed.
Over me. This is my playpen.
Okay, it's true.
The going is if you don't like where you're living,
you move.
You move. What you do is you don't call housing and say, I want to know what my rights are. And
yeah, because I want to know if she could throw myself in the street.
You're not talking over me, and then stop paying rent. That's what you don't do unless you're a squatter.
You're not understanding.
Unless you're a squatter. And then what you do is you resort to the courts and abuse protective orders, because I'm reading this, and this is a crock-a-baloney. Yes. If you came to me in family court with this crock-a-baloney, I would never have granted you a temporary order of protection, because on the temporary order of protection, she was at the property on which you were not paying rent.
We were paying rent. She refused.
At that time, we were
What
paying
happens
rent.
when they refuse to cash your checks? When they refuse to pick up your checks, then what are you left with, Your Honor? I'm sorry, but I don't understand.
Just a second.
We paid our stuff. We had it the whole time.
She wanted you out.
So it's okay for her to harass. It's okay for her to touch.
Just a second. I did it. Get a life. Get a job. Your landlord gave you 30 days notice, as she's required to do. She gave you 30 days notice. You said, I'm not moving.
How about...
And I'm not finished. I'm not moving. She says, you have to move. I'm moving out of here. This friend that goes back and goes forth, you go and you file for a protective order to keep her off of property. You call the police and you have her arrested. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We were being harassed, saying that they're going to throw our stuff in the street.
I went to jail for no reason.
How can you send somebody rent checks and them not deposit it and it's your fault?
I catch every single check.
Have everything in a correct lease. Do not have verbal agreements, because something like this will happen in the future.
Thank you, Judge Judy, and I'm very happy to be here.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kotzen versus Tung Ye. Step forward.
Ryan Kotzen is suing his neighbor, Joyce Tung Ye, for medical bills after her dog bit him in the face.
Mr. Kotzen, on what day were you being a good Samaritan, sir?
July 25th.
Where did this happen and what time of day?
It happened by my house in Northridge. It was around the afternoon.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, so I was driving home. I just had picked up some food. And driving through my neighborhood, I see a dog walking across the street without an owner or leash. So I pulled over.
What kind of dog?
It looked like a little poodle.
How big?
Maybe 15 pounds.
What color?
White.
Anybody else on the street?
No, but there were cars driving by.
So you pulled over?
I pulled over. I was concerned for the animal.
And what did you do?
And I got out of the car. I walked up to the dog, really friendly. I reached down to look at the collar, and that's when it jumped up and bit and latched onto my cheek and violently shook. So I pushed it off me, and I chased it, and it ran into a garage. So I figured it must be the owner's.
Okay. When you saw it go into the garage, what did you do next?
My first instinct was, okay, this must be the house. So I went and got something to cover my face because I was bleeding.
You went back to your car?
Mm-hmm. And then I went to the door and knocked on Joyce's door. She answered.
Did you know her before?
No.
Okay. And?
And she answered, and I had my hand on my chin, and I said, did you lose your dog? And she said, yes. Did you find him? I said, yeah, he's in your garage. And he bit my face. And she said, Marshmallow bit your face? And I said, yes, Marshmallow bit my face.
That's why we're here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your answer is ridiculous. Your answer first denies that it was your dog, because your dog was in the garage when you left, when you saw it.
My dog was in the garage.
Yeah.
Next time I saw him.
Yeah, well, but that suggests that it was somebody else's dog. It wasn't somebody else's dog. It was your dog.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ryan Kotzen says neighbor Joyce Tung Ye should pay his medical bills after her stray dog.
The defendant to be responsible for your medical bills?
Yes, and she did say that she would pay for them.
Okay. When did you notice your dog missing? When that day did you notice your dog missing?
I noticed my dog was missing I didn't let him out.
What time did you know? I said when?
I don't remember, maybe 10, 15 minutes after the contractor arrived.
You were at home?
I was at home.
And what time did the contractor arrive? Morning, afternoon?
Oh, early afternoon.
When you noticed your dog missing, what did you do?
I went out to look for him.
And did you find him?
No.
Did you call the police? Did you notify animal control?
No.
Why not?
Because in the past, when we were in Orange County, Gardner will forget to close the gate, the dog will go out, and he will come back.
That's exactly what I wanted you to hear.
So
out there. Well, so this has happened to you before, and the dog always came back.
Correct.
Well, that can't happen. So you're on notice that your dog gets out. And if I believe the story, it was the contractor who let the dog out. You can't let your dog out. I actually, I said, well, if this was the first time this happened, and she immediately reported it to the police, and it had never happened before, but evidently this is an occurrence that happens frequently.
No, not in Orange County.
I don't believe you. You have to pay for his medical bills. Can I see him, please?
Yes, of course. Maybe I'll just give you everything. No?
Just a
minute. You have a dog, you're supposed to keep your dog in your house, under your control, or under your control at all times.
But I didn't let the dog out.
I don't care if you let the dog out. It's your dog. I don't care who let the dog out. Somebody who you allowed into your house let the dog out, and the dog's been let out before, and I guarantee you more than once.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. So how much were your out-of-pocket expenses, sir?
$386.07.
Do you have photographs of your injury?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at them. Why didn't you pay his medical bills?
I asked to see the receipts. He never gave me the receipts.
When did you ask for the receipts?
All along when he first contacted the animal shelter, and the inspector came out to inspect my house. Nothing found wrong.
Listen to me. Your answer is ridiculous. Your answer first denies that it was your dog, because your dog was in the garage when you left, when you saw it.
My dog was in the garage next time I saw him.
Yeah, well, but that suggests that it was somebody else's dog. A small stray dog that he stupidly decided to pick up, since a small dog can't jump 6 feet in the air and bite him in the face. Well, if you're trying to look and see where the dog comes from, if it's a stray dog and it's got a collar, you have to bend down and look at the collar to see the name on the collar. Doesn't that make sense to you?
It does.
All right.
Okay.
It makes more sense than your answer. Okay, your expenses are about $400, and I'm awarding you another $600 for pain and suffering. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. We're done here. You should have paid the medical bills on time.
He never showed me the receipts.
Step out.
A boxing trainer.
I gave them a passion.
That's nice. These women were passionate about canceling their memberships.
A gym owner.
He inappropriately touched a female on her buttocks, and I also had a client come to me crying because she felt like her personal space was violated.
And constant complaints packed a punch.
I tried to give him a chance, Your Honor.
If I were running a business, I would fire his behind. Fast.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Boxing gym owner Danny Calhoun Jr. is suing his former employee, boxing trainer Charlando Peoples, for violation of a non-compete agreement.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 183 on the calendar in the matter of Calhoun versus Peoples.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Calhoun, you run a gym, is that correct?
Correct.
Where is it located?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
How many gyms are there in Cincinnati?
At least 20 or 30 gyms in the entire city.
Between 20 and 30. And how many within a 10-block radius of where you are?
10-block radius, I would say maybe 4, 5.
Because I assume that before you started your business, which is a relatively new business, you did a survey of the area and
Correct.
said, is there room for another business similar
Correct.
to mine? So there were 4 or 5 relatively close by.
Well, the ones that are similar to mine, they're on the outskirts, so they're at least 20 miles outside of the facility.
20 miles?
Exactly.
When you say similar to yours, in what
That
respect?
use the techniques as far as training boxing. We teach women's boxing specifically to 90% of our clientele are female, so we teach them self-defense boxing, and also we incorporate a fitness aspect of the workout.
So you do regular gym work in addition to boxing?
Correct, and boxing is...
You have trainers other than boxing trainers, or you only have boxing trainers?
We only hire boxing trainers.
So that each person that comes to your gym, as part of the boxing training regimen, they learn other exercises?
Exactly.
Okay, so this is what the case is about. You hired Mr. Peoples and claim that after a period of time he left, he quit, and in violation of your non-compete agreement, he trained other people within the catchment area of your non-compete clause, and he took some of your clients.
Yes.
Mr. Peoples says that's not correct, that you actually fired him and you didn't pay him his wages that you do owe him, and also that he's been trying to start his own little business and train people, and you've been defaming him. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you hire Mr. Peoples?
We hired him on March the 9th, 2016.
And when had you opened your business?
2011.
How many trainers do you have, Mr. Calhoun?
Currently, we have 4.
And at the time that you hired Mr. Peoples, how many trainers did you have?
We had 2.
So you've added 2 trainers?
Correct.
Are they 2 full-time trainers?
Part-time.
Do you have 2 full-time trainers?
I'm full-time, and then we also have management.
Okay. So at the time that you hired the defendant, you had 1 full-time, that was you, and 2 part-time.
Correct.
And now you have 4.
Correct.
You have 1 full-time and 3 part-time?
Correct.
And the full-time is still you?
Yes.
So between the separated, for whatever reason, by the way, what month was that?
The end of May.
Okay, so he was working for you for just a couple of months.
Correct.
So between the end of May and now, your business has increased sufficiently so that you brought on an extra part-time trainer.
Correct.
Good. So you didn't suffer any loss of business.
We suffered lost business.
Well, that would be hard based upon what you just told me, that you suffered loss of business. And you would have to speculate that you would really have more than that, more than just the need for 4 instructors, where you only had need for 3 instructors before. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I understand. We needed more help at the time, but we were short-staffed when we had the 2 instructors plus myself. Right now, we have what we need to survive.
So what you're saying is, when you hired him,
we were short-staffed.
You were short-staffed, and if you... Okay, I'm just playing with words with you.
Correct.
If you were short-staffed, that means that you weren't giving your clientele what they were paying for, because it's a service business, and if you had fewer people to serve your clientele, they were getting shortchanged.
They were not getting shortchanged.
Okay, all right. I have to tell you, I'm going to try to figure out whether he was fired, and if he was fired for a reason, whether you owe him any money. But I have a problem, Mr. Calhoun, because I have an agreement that he signed. And it looks to me as if the pertinent part of that agreement suggests that there is a 100-mile radius where he is not allowed to practice his business of training once he comes to work for you.
Correct.
Right? And he worked for you for 8 weeks. And the closest, according to what you told me earlier, facility that is similar to yours is 20 miles away. So you made your agreement 100 miles away. That's a bit onerous to me. And a judge, in looking at that kind of an employment contract, says, just like when you look at an agreement to pay interest, you know, you can have an exorbitant interest rate. And if it's so exorbitant that courts find it unconscionable, courts will say, I'm going to vacate it. I will not enforce it because it's so onerous. So my first question to you would be, irrespective of the reason that he left, how do you justify a 100-mile non-compete clause when you have the closest place doing the same training as the kind of training you do is only 20 miles away?
Well, we're the only ones that do the type of training that we offer. We train our staff for 2 to 4 weeks before we hire them.
I'm talking miles. And so what you do is you say you train for 4 weeks. You hired Mr. Peoples, and I'm not saying he's a good guy or a bad guy, because you're a good guy. You're a good guy. You're a business guy. You hired him on March 9th. So you trained him for a month, or had he already been in training?
Before he was hired, he was being trained.
Okay, when was he being trained?
He was being trained 2 weeks before he got hired.
Were you paying him for those 2 weeks of training?
No, it's not paid training.
Why not?
Because we have employees that come in and they don't complete the training, and there's a waste of money for the hours that we put in to train our trainees.
So he started to work actually in the end of February, is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And he worked at the end of February for nothing?
Well, he didn't work. He was just with me one-on-one training, learning the business.
Great. And then you liked him well enough to start him on March 9th.
Correct.
Why did you separate from him at the end of May?
At the end of May, there were numerous clients' complaints. We have female clients.
Okay, just a second. Let's take that slowly. There were clients complaining, which is a little bit of hearsay, but what you're telling me is you were unhappy with his service.
Correct.
Did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
When?
I spoke with him 2 weeks after, and I have the probationary papers here, but I spoke with him 2 weeks after he was hired.
Okay. So that would have been sometime around March 20th.
March 23rd, to be exact.
You spoke to him that you weren't happy with his performance in what way?
She come to me crying because she felt like her personal space was violated. She sent me a letter in email that I have here.
I'd like to see it. Do you acknowledge, Mr. Peoples, that you had this conversation with him? And whether these emails are true or not, did he show them to you?
He didn't show me emails, but we had a talk before.
You had a conversation about
Yes,
them?
ma'am, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is just from one person.
Yes, but I have more.
I'd like to see them. Thank you, Mr. Calhoun. Okay, Mr. Calhoun, if I were running a business and it appears to me that you were running a successful business and that you had some dedicated clients who had been coming to you for years, and I received these kinds of emails from them that you did discuss with the defendant, I would fire his behind.
I understand, Your Honor. I tried to...
Fast!
Yes, I tried to give him a chance, Your Honor, when he came to me. He really liked the sport of boxing, and I have a business.
Who train men.
Wait, what exactly happened?
Well, you had several different women say, sir, that you didn't quite understand that a woman's personal space may be different from a man's personal space. And when they complained to you about sort of being in their personal space, and they had been coming to training for years, your response was, it's boxing.
Correct.
I saw what your response was. And when she tried to explain that, it made her feel uncomfortable. And it's a service that you're providing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not a drill sergeant in the Army, where you have to be in the Army. You provide a service.
But I'm also an athlete. And when I train, I gave them a passion, you know. So when
That's nice. These women were passionate about canceling their membership.
They were just used to a system that didn't work.
Just a second.
Oh, okay.
If his system didn't work for you, but worked for his clients.
But I trained her like a few weeks after that too, and it was easy. We talked, we communicate. So
nice.
I don't know what the personal space issue was. I was just like, come on, 100 more punches, let's go.
Your Honor, she came to me in tears in front of 12 witnesses.
Just a second. I would fire him. Did you fire him?
I gave him a talk. I put him on probation for 90 days. I gave him a second chance.
And then you got more letters.
I got more letters.
And then what did you do?
Then I terminated him.
Fine, so you fired him.
Yeah. On May the 27th.
Now, on May 27th, did you owe him any money?
Yes, we sent the check in the mail, and I have a copy of it. It was returned to us. I also reached out to him to confirm the address.
Okay, so you sent him a check in the amount of how much?
The amount was $112.
Is that what he owed you?
Nah.
What did he owe you?
Roughly around
No. I want to hear what he owed you, and if you don't know, say I don't know.
I do know.
Well, then tell me how much he owed you. He owed you $600.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have paperwork there to show me how he owes you $600?
I have my bank statements of my last check, which was May 3rd. It was $400.
Just a second. Your last check, May 3rd, was $400.
Mm-hmm. I went to a trip to the Bahamas, like the 10th or something like that. So it was my, 2-week trip.
So you didn't work 2 weeks in May?
Right. But I received my check for...
Just a minute.
From the 18th.
You got a check on May 3rd, Mr. Peoples, for $400. Is that what your bank statement showed?
Yes.
And that's for work that you did 2 weeks before?
Correct.
Great. And then you left for 2 weeks to go for a trip to the Bahamas, so you did not work.
It might have been a week, though. It felt like 2 weeks. It was a long trip.
$112. He gets $112. Where he gets $600, neither does he.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you have a membership with Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
What did you do with that membership?
In August, I reached out asking to cancel it.
And can you tell me why you left the gym and elected to follow Mr. Peoples?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Boxing gym owner Danny Calhoun Jr. says former employee, trainer Charlando Peoples, violated their non-compete agreement and defamed him. Charlando is countersuing for unpaid wages and harassment.
What's the rest of your complaint, Mr. Calhoun? So far, he didn't leave. You fired him. He's entitled to his money, which is part of his counterclaim.
The rest of my complaint, Your Honor, there were numerous complaints. He was inappropriate. I have a witness. He inappropriately touched a female on her buttocks.
Listen to me, sir. That's why you fired him. You don't get compensated for that.
Well, this is what caused, the behavior is what caused other people to cancel the memberships. I was going away to a boxing camp for a week, and during that week time, I received emails where I had to call my witness and say, I'm coming in town because I have to fire Lando. People are canceling memberships. Yes.
Sir, I think you're a very nice man and a good businessman, and I think that you were very fair with him. Your business is better now than when you hired him. We know that because you have more people working for you as trainers than you did when you hired him. So you didn't suffer a loss of business. The only thing that I have an issue with is whether or not I should impose any sort of a non-compete, whether I should substitute my own judgment for your 100-mile radius non-compete or just say I'm not going to enforce it at all because it's too onerous. So let me ask you this question, Mr. Peoples. Where are you working now?
Right now, I am a mental health specialist at St. Joseph Orphanage.
So you're not training?
I am.
At the orphanage?
No. Well, I'm starting a program there. It's pretty much troubled teens that I deal with a lot.
I got it.
Okay.
Is that a full-time job?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much do you earn at that full-time job?
Like 12 something.
But it's a full-time job and a nice career.
Yes, it's something I'm very passionate about. I grew up in the same system, so.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a path to something there.
Yeah.
Great. Do you train anyone?
Yes, I've trained 2 students from there. I can't disclose their names, but I also trained one of my managers as well from there.
Okay. Now, the 2 students that you train...
I train them at my boxing gym. I train that personally.
And how much do you charge them an hour?
None. Everything is not profit, so... I just want to give the kids an opportunity to change their life and...
I'm talking about the people from his gym.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the kids. No, so the people from his gym, I have my witness here.
Do you train any of the people that you met at his gym?
Yes, 2. Lindsay Smalls and another client.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have to stop writing this stuff that you were writing about your former employer. Do you understand? Because you're not going to destroy his business, but I want you to stop writing about him. It's childish.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Boxing gym owner Danny Calhoun Jr. claims former employee, trainer Charlando Peoples, violated their non-compete agreement and defamed him.
Miss Smalls, could you tell me how long you were a member of Mr. Calhoun's gym?
Since January of 2016.
So a relatively short period of time.
Correct.
Before Mr. Peoples joined.
Right.
And can you tell me why you left the gym and elected to follow Mr. Peoples?
I left because the trainers that were coming in, like Mr. Calhoun said, they were short-staffed. I wanted to do personal training. There wasn't anybody there that I felt was able to do that with me, that I felt would help me reach my goals. So I reached out to Mr. Peoples to see if we could train.
And when did you start to train with him?
About the 2nd week of June.
Did you have a membership with Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
What did you do with that membership?
I had it still. I paid for June and July. In August, I reached out asking to cancel it. And so I have not paid the cancellation fee, but I will be canceling the membership.
And what's the cancellation fee?
My balance left was $600, so I have to pay half of it, so $300.
And you haven't been using the service?
Correct.
And all in all, he worked for you for 8 weeks?
Yes, 8 weeks.
Well, Mr. Calhoun, the only other part that I'm going to hear of in your complaint is the defamation part, and I would like to see evidence of that.
I have it all here, Your Honor.
And other than your witness, you train one other person from his gym, is
Yes.
that correct? Okay.
I have her letter right here. She wasn't able to come.
No, I don't read letters.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, Mr. Peoples, I'm going to tell you, you have to stop writing this stuff that you were writing about your former employer.
Okay.
Do you understand? Because I'm going to find that the 100-mile radius non-compete clause, considering that you worked for him for 8 weeks, was so overbearing as to be non-enforceable. I'm going to find that. And I'm going to give you your $112. That's what you deserve. I'm dismissing your counterclaim other than that. Your counterclaim was for harassment. I'm giving you a gift because you have a job, you have a full-time job, and in addition to that, you're trying to make additional money, which is, to me, a good thing, and you're not going to destroy his business because he has a business that's been going on now for 5 years successfully. He has people that like the way he trains. I assume that he will continue to move on. He has a facility, and I would assume that if you hired more people, it means your business is better. But I want you to stop writing about him.
Okay.
It's childish. Do you understand? Don't work off him. Work on your own reputation, Mr. Peoples. If you are a trainer that can attract somebody to come train with you, say, I prefer the way he trains, I'm not intimidated by, disparage anybody else.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand? Okay, that's it. Judgment on the counterclaim for $112, and the admonition is, sir, that the next time you write anything disparaging, Mr. Calhoun's going to come back to me.
Okay.
And then I'm not going to be so kind to you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
This case is over. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Telling him how to respect women. 90% of my clientele is women. He didn't do that.
His first interview with me was like,
he was not teaching him the way he was supposed to be taught.
You know, sexual harassment and this type of thing.
You got this guy out here, you know, harassing clientele.
I think the whole butt touching thing was kind of a little out there.
Yeah, he got too close. You touch a woman's butt, that's too close.
You know, I'm not a touching type of guy.
You know, it's just ridiculous.
So she was your girlfriend?
No, she was my friend.
We shared a bedroom for the last 2 years.
If it doesn't make sense, it's usually not true.
An old hookup comes back to haunt him.
Once she gets out the car, she starts like storming towards me, you know, like a loose rhino. She's like, you keyed my car, I know you did it.
And a new romance already doomed?
You're screwing up a lot of families. You understand? Stick to one woman.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Delvin McDonald and fiancée Brianne Copici are suing Vanessa Ray for bail money due to a false arrest, missed work, harassment, and emotional distress.
Order. All rise. That's case number 209 on the calendar, the matter of Capici McDonald versus Ray.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
What's your last name, sir?
McDonald.
Mr. McDonald, your co-plaintiff is your fiancée? Is
Yes,
that right?
Your
You
Honor.
live together.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the defendant used to be your girlfriend, and you lived together.
No, Your Honor, she was my roommate.
Well, she maybe thinks she was more than your roommate. That's what I get from her answer. Were you just roommates, or did you date?
We shared a bedroom for the last 2 years. We were raising our children together. We lived together, yes.
Okay. When you say raising your children together, do you have biological children together? Shh. Do you have biological children together with Mr. McDonald?
No, I have 2 children of my own, and Mr. McDonald has his son.
Did your son live in the house with Miss Ray?
Yes, Your Honor.
There ever come a time when you and Miss Ray lived together in the same bedroom?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, perfect. Did you contribute to the rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much?
The one-bedroom apartment that we lived in, I contributed.
Just a second. So you lived in a one-bedroom apartment with
Yes,
the
when I
3
first moved
children?
in, yes.
And where did your son sleep?
He slept in a bed along with her children as well.
So you mean 5 of you slept in the same bed?
No, it was 2 beds in 1 room.
I'm just getting some background before I get to the case because, Mr. McDonald, I like to know the people that I'm dealing with.
Okay.
So you have a son.
Yes, I do.
How old?
He's 10 years old.
How long did you know Miss Ray before you moved in with her?
A little over a year.
So she was your girlfriend?
No, she was my friend.
You don't move into a one-bedroom apartment with 3 children with 1 bedroom that you share with a friend. If it doesn't make sense, it's usually not true. Now, Miss Kopici?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many?
I have 2.
Any more on the way?
I have 1 on the way.
Mr. McDonald, the father of that child?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you meet Mr. McDonald?
I met him over 2 years ago. It'll be June.
And when did he move in with you?
We were talking for a year as friends. We did
He has
hang
a
out.
lot of friends.
Well, now we're here with baby, so we're different, fiance, whatever.
That just makes you a pregnant friend.
Mm-hmm.
You're a pregnant friend. Okay, let's go. Just give me the date that you moved in together.
For me, September of 2014.
And when did he move out of your house?
He moved out of my house on September 19th of 2014.
So he moved from your house
Straight
directly into her
home.
house.
Yes.
Now, Miss Ray, because when it comes down to it, this is a case where the 2 girlfriends got into a kerfuffle at the school of your children, your son and your 2 children, and you were arrested, and then they dismissed the case, but she had to bail you out, and so that's what you're suing for, and you're suing for an assault and for missing work and whatever. But so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
This incident took place on what date?
May 24th.
Now, at that time, he had been gone for 2 years.
Correct.
Now, in the 2 years that he's been gone and clearly developed more than a friendship with Miss Kopici, what contact have you had with him?
We spoke daily.
On the telephone, text?
Text, via text every morning. Good morning, good night.
I'd love to see a couple of them.
I deleted Mr. McDonald out of my phone completely when I got my restraining order.
Well, you got your restraining order in what month and year?
I got my restraining order from Mr. McDonald in June.
Of what year?
Of this year.
September. And May of 2016, did you have any contact with Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Now, you said to me you had daily contact.
Yes.
I said, I want to see it. You said, because it was by text, you said, I deleted it. Doesn't make sense to me. If you are going to sue him for everything that you're suing him for, why would you, within the last 8 weeks, delete all the text messages from him?
Your Honor, I've been to court with Ms. Kopici and Mr. McDonald on 4 separate occasions. So this is not the first time.
That's just great. That's even more reason not to delete any evidence. So let's just say it's true, which I don't believe, by the way. Neither does this lady, who was your mother, right? I know it's your mother. It's one face. He would write you every morning, good morning, and did you ever respond to him?
I stopped responding to Mr. McDonald after May 24th.
So the answer is for 2 years you did respond to him.
Yes.
And since we're writing a novel here, a work of fiction, what did you respond to him?
Good morning back. We would have small text messages about anything.
Come on,
about anything, about the day, about our children, about what was going on, about his relationship with Ms. Kopici, about their argument. Ask me what I thought, blah, blah, blah. We would have conversations about my life, my family, things like that. I never believed that Mr. McDonald stalked me or harassed me up until that point. We started to argue in the month of May, and it led to all this happening.
Just a second. What were you arguing about in the month of May?
Because I told Mr. McDonald that I was done with his bullying. He would text me and he would ask me...
You know, even your mother is rolling her eyes. I have to tell you, just letting you know. Now, I want to know, on May 24th, was there an open school day at school?
Yes.
That's the same school where your son go to school there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do your children go to school there? No. What kind of open school period was it on May 24th?
It was open house. You go to the school and then the kids show you what they've done throughout the year, projects, works of art and things of that nature.
Had you in any way, Mr. McDonald, communicated with Miss Ray that you were going to be there that day?
No, I haven't spoken. I actually didn't speak with her since May 12th, actually.
What did you speak to her about on May 12th?
She called me. She asked me for some advice. I told her, I gave you advice. It was about a car or something that supposedly she had wanted to purchase.
At that point, had you told her that your fiance was pregnant? Between 2014 and 2016, did you maintain contact with Miss Ray?
Yeah, we were friends.
Do you know what it was that changed that?
I guess her pursuit, because she constantly, regardless, because I never gave her the title, quote unquote, what she always asked for, because we were just friends, and she saw me move on with my life. She tried to, you know, she got involved in my life. A lot of relationships that I had, like I said, we were roommates. I dated people while I lived there because she was my roommate.
Well, you also lived with her in the same bedroom.
Only because it was a one bedroom. But I didn't always stay there, though. I didn't always sleep in that bed, though. I used to sleep in the living room a lot, on the floor, actually.
Are you suggesting to me, Mr. McDonald, that you never had an intimate relationship with her?
The first night in my cousin's truck, yes, I did, Your Honor.
In what year?
Wow.
That was 2013, 12, something like that.
Now, are you suggesting to me in the time that you lived with her, you did not have an intimate relationship with her?
When I wasn't dating anybody.
So you had an on and off intimate relationship with her?
Off and on, yes.
I just want to tell you what's down the road for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Definitely.
Do you understand what's down the road for you?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You seem to be prepared to tell me that you are a scoundrel, that you're God's else. When I'm not dating somebody else, I can come back and sleep in her bedroom. And I'm telling you, it's not fine.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Delvon McDonald and fiancée Brianne Copici claimed Delvon's former roommate, Vanessa Ray, had him falsely arrested. Vanessa has a countersuit for an assault.
Now, you have an ordinary guy who is being pursued by at least two women at the same time. Because if he's moved on in his life from you and you can't let it go and just say, listen, I can find another winner like this anywhere. Right? But you continue to have daily discussions with him and call him up about advice about buying a car and give him advice about his girlfriend, and you get advice from him. Go to a therapist. But I want to know what happened, and I actually think now that the only person I'm going to get an accurate answer from is you, Mr. McDonald, because you seem to be prepared to tell me that you are a scoundrel, that you're God's gift so you can live with one, you can go out and date somebody else. When I'm not dating somebody else, I can come back and sleep in her bedroom. Now I can go live with her and make a baby with her, but I can continue to have friendship with Miss Ray because I'm telling you, it's not fine. It's too complicated. You don't look like you can handle it. I don't know about physically, that's not my business. Emotionally, psychologically, you can't handle it. You're screwing up a lot of families by thinking I can have a little one here, and I can have a piece here, and I can have a piece of the pie here, and I can go here, whatever. And you're living in some other world altogether. So now I know where I'm going to get my legitimate information, because now you know how I legitimately view you.
Yes.
Because I think you're going to tell me honestly what happened.
Yes.
And I'm not going to get that from them. First of all, did you, Mr. McDonald, ever key Miss Ray's car?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
I absolutely believe that. Did you ever flatten her tires?
No, Your Honor.
No. I'm not so sure about Miss Copici. I'm not even going to ask her. But there did come a time when you had your car keyed and your tires slashed, right?
Correct.
And did you file a police report about
did.
it? And did you name the person who did it?
Yes.
And do you have a copy of that police report?
Not that one, no.
That one is the only one I'm interested in.
Okay. My apartment complex does have security cameras, and they
did you
saw
bring
a
me
gentleman.
Did you bring arrested for that crime?
No, I was not.
All right. So now on May 24th, you go to the school.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what happened when you went to the school to see your son's artwork?
Well, me and my family, me, my fiance, and my stepdaughter and my son, we went to the school to see my son's exhibits. And they had an intermission, so on the intermission, I went outside because I smoke cigarettes, so I went outside to have a cigarette.
It's not a good idea for you to smoke cigarettes, or you have a 10-year-old son that you have custody of, and if you're going to have another baby, it's not a good idea for you to smoke anymore.
I'll quit today then.
Perfect. Let's move on.
All right. So I was outside smoking a cigarette, and when I noticed Miss Soto Ray, how you guys have it, she comes around, and I see her, and I just glance over.
In a car or in person?
In a car. And as soon as I see her, she makes this face, and she flips me off. So once she gets out the car, she starts, like, storming towards me, you know, like a loose rhino. And I'm like, I look over, so I'm like, what's going on? Like, and I call my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, get the kids. Let's get out of here because I think she's about to start something, you know? So she comes, she approaches me, and she was like...
What did she say?
She was like, you keyed my car. I know you did it. Blah, blah, blah. You messed my car up. And I was shocked. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, I know you did it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why would I key your car? You have nothing I want. I left you alone. Like, I have a beautiful fiance of regular size. Like, I'm cool.
Well, you didn't say all that to her.
Yeah, I did.
Disrespectful. He's very disrespectful.
Listen to me. He doesn't have to be respectful or disrespectful for you. He's got another girl. You got to leave him alone.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If somebody came to court and said, I want her to have an order of protection, I would say, no, I want to do a trial. I have nothing else to do today, and I'm going to do a trial on your ridiculous case, even though you're willing to consent to your adversary having an order of protection.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Delvon McDonald and fiancée Brianne Copici say Delvon's former roommate, Vanessa Ray, owes for a false arrest.
Go ahead. So what happened next?
And then she goes to hit me, right? So I'm like, what are you doing? And then my girlfriend at the time or whatever, she shows up with the kids, and they're on the curb right here. And she's like, we're not going to do this here. And she was wearing a hat that said Bonnie on it, and I was wearing a hat that said Clyde, which she actually used to own. She actually used to own a hat. Oh, sorry. So she goes, she sees us both with the Bonnie and Clyde hat, because she used to have a Bonnie hat, and it upset her.
That you bought me. Okay. And that I bought you the Clyde.
So she snatches it off my head, right? And, like, you know, her hands are, like, bigger than mine. So when she grabs my hat, she pulls my head down, and then she pulls the hat off to the side to, like, you know, keep me from going to reach for it. And she gets a hold of the hat, and then she finally gets a hold of the hat, and she pushes my girlfriend in the chest. And then she was like, you blah, 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 that's why boyfriend or something like that. And then her mom came.
Whose mom?
Vanessa's mom.
Your last name is?
Soto.
Ms. Soto, you there looking at your grandchildren's artwork?
Yes, like I do every year, yes.
That's what you were there for?
Yes.
Were you in the school or outside of the school?
Actually, I was approaching the school, so I was still outside of the school. I hadn't gotten in yet when I saw my daughter talking to Mr. McDonald. And I hurried to park because I knew what had happened a couple of days before, that he had keyed her car.
He didn't key her car. There was no proof that he keyed her car.
Yes, but there's no evidence that he did not do it either.
There's no evidence that her didn't do it.
Yeah.
And your daughter is a little bit high energy. There may be a lot of people. What I don't understand is why she had anything to do with this man who's off involved with somebody else. You end it and you move on.
Correct.
Especially when you have very casually. Sadly, women don't treat those relationships very casually. Now, you have a claim for assault. Did you go to a hospital?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, good. And you got in between this fight.
Your Honor, I didn't technically get involved. I was saying that we weren't doing this. She didn't like it, and so she put her hands on me.
Yeah, she put her hands on you. I know, which she's not allowed to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, you went to court with regard to protective orders.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a trial?
Yes.
Were you granted a protective order against her?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
For how long?
For 1 year.
Did you testify at that trial?
Yes.
And the judge, after the trial, granted the plaintiff a protective order against you so that you have to stay away from her.
Yes, I told the judge to give it to her.
No, that's not true. If you told
Yes,
the
I
judge,
did.
hey, listen to me carefully. If somebody came to court and said, I want her to have an order of protection, I would say, no, I want to do a trial. I have nothing else to do today. I got 900 people outside who want my time, and I'm going to do a trial on your ridiculous case, even though you're willing to consent to your adversary having an order of protection. They'd no longer have those kinds of crazy judges on the bench. Okay, so after the trial, she was granted a protective order against you. Now, did you go to trial with regard to your application for an order of protection against Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
And what happened?
Order against Mr. McDonald due to harassment for
No,
18 months.
don't. You testified.
Yes.
And he testified.
Right.
And the judge granted you a protective order.
Correct.
For 18 months.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
So now we know we have to stay away from each other. Anything happened since that time?
A little bit.
What?
She drives past the house, she makes faces and stuff like that.
It should be on record. If that happens again, I would suggest that you videotape it and bring it to the police and have her arrested for violating the order of protection.
Yes, Your Honor, and I also was granted a restraining order as well against Mr. McDonald. After he assaulted my daughter, he verbally assaulted me and threatened my family.
Did she go to the hospital?
No.
She approached him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, she approached him furious because she believed that after 2 years of really nice back and forth, she believed he keyed her car. For whatever reason, I don't care. And she confronted him. Instead of leaving it up to the authorities to deal with, she got out of her, like you were doing.
Correct.
She confronted him.
Right, and we never denied that from the beginning. That's always been the truth.
Very good. So your case is dismissed.
Stand by the truth.
Just a second. The truth is, you shouldn't have gotten involved.
Myself?
Yes.
When I saw him attacking my daughter as a mother, what am I to do? A man should never touch a woman.
No, in my way of thinking, one human being should not attack another human being.
She did not attack. She took his hat off, Your Honor.
Sit down. We're done. You and I are done.
Thank you.
Sit down. Your counterclaim is dismissed. So's your claim. We're done.
Stick
to one woman.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're done.
Thank you. That's all that matters. Goodbye.
Now let's talk about the burnt couch that I saw. Do you know how that happened?
No idea.
A cohabiting couple gets fired up.
She has people over all the time. It could have been a number of her friends. She's also a fire dancer.
No one fire dances indoors. That's absurd.
And a relationship goes down in flames.
You're drunk all the time anyway.
You're twice as drunk and half as attractive.
Cool.
I'm not liking the two of you, actually.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Lauren Glenn is suing her ex-girlfriend, burned couch.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 137 on the calendar in the matter of Glenn versus Kitteridge.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Glenn, you and Miss Kitteridge lived together as a couple for how long?
Yes, Your Honor, we did for about 12 months.
You don't have to lean over.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you move into an apartment together, or did she move into your apartment?
She moved into my apartment.
Okay. How long had you been living there?
I had been living there for about 2 years prior.
Were you living there alone or with somebody else?
I was living there alone. I actually had a roommate for probably about 5 months, but...
How you were living alone?
Yeah.
She moved in on what date?
February of 2015.
Is that right?
Yes.
And is that when you became a couple? When you
No,
moved
we
in?
were a couple previous before that. Sorry.
Miss Kitteridge, when you moved in, what were the financial arrangements?
We were just going to split the rent, which was $1,100. So we were going to pay $550 each.
When did you move out?
I moved out mid-May, around the 12th.
That's actually false, Your Honor.
No, listen to me. First of all, don't bend over again. Second of all, unless I'm speaking to you, don't speak.
All right, I'm very sorry.
Great. Okay, so this is what the case is about. It is Miss Glenn's claim that you owe her some rent. You had a fight. You moved out. You owe her some rent. And in addition to owing her, she acknowledges that after you burnt her sofa, she changed the locks in the apartment and threw your stuff out.
Yeah.
And your counterclaim is for the stuff that was ruined as a result of her throwing it out.
Correct.
So that's what I have. Okay. Did you pay her May's rent?
No, I didn't pay her May's rent.
Okay. And you lived there until the 12th?
The 12th, yeah.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you leaving.
I left because we had broken up in the beginning of May, but we had agreed that I would be able to live there until the end of May until I found a place. And then I moved out early because she was just partying, having people over all the time, and started
So it was uncomfortable.
dating someone. Yeah, in front of me. It was
Okay,
very
so
uncomfortable.
it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you left in mid-May on the 12th, did you take your property with you? Anything?
I took a bag, like a duffel bag of stuff.
When did you come back for your property?
I came back about a week later.
Did you have any contact with her during that week?
No.
When you came back for your property, where was it?
It was outside the house, and the locks were changed.
She tells in her complaint that you had broken into the house at some point and burnt a couch when you went into the house. Did you do that?
No. I absolutely have no idea where she got that.
Just a second.
You're also, like, she had a number of her friends. She's also a fire dancer.
You did not. You came back a week later and your stuff was outside and the locks were changed.
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now I want you to tell me, Miss Glenn, Miss Kitteridge left in mid-May.
She did. She left like after May 9th. I actually went out of town.
Just a second.
Okay.
How did you know, if you were out of town, that she left in mid-May?
She had a party with like a bunch of members of her like softball team, and like some of them.
Don't look at her. Look at me. Don't look
Some
at
of
her.
them told me about it, and actually, I have some evidence here.
Just talk to me. Talk to me. When I want
I'm sorry,
evidence,
Your Honor.
when
I have some evidence here.
Just a second. Is what you're telling me that you heard from other people that she had a party?
Yes, but I texted her and she didn't deny it.
Okay. So she had a party.
She did.
At the house where she was living.
She was living, but not paying rent. Yes.
Well, did she pay April's rent?
She did not pay April's rent.
Did you pay April's rent?
I didn't pay April's rent.
Oh, well, when did you stop paying rent?
It was just April, and then I had every intention of paying rent, and then my stuff was all outside ruined.
No. Look at me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your stuff wasn't outside ruined in April.
No, it
Miss
wasn't.
Kitteridge.
I was late.
So you didn't pay rent in all of April.
I would pay her. I said I was going to pay her in the middle of May for April's rent and May's rent.
Just a second. You didn't pay April, so you owe her April's rent.
Yes.
I'm not interested in your social
Okay.
life. I couldn't give a
I
rat's
know.
behind about your social life. This is a lawsuit.
Yeah.
You owe her April's rent, and you were there until mid-May, so you owe May's rent. Now, the only other part of your lawsuit is the sofa. I'd like to see pictures of the sofa.
Sure.
I also have a countersuit for all of my stuff that got ruined. I'm sorry.
What kind of... I'm not looking at you. Didn't you get?
Sorry, I apologize.
Your Honor, I have pictures of the sofa and also text messages kind of related to this. I'm sorry about my language.
You're talking about this mark here?
Yes.
Okay.
How would I even do that?
You're capable of almost
It's
anything, I would
crazy.
say.
I'm not liking the two of you.
I'm
actually.
sorry.
Sorry, Your Honor.
At all.
We like
Okay.
you.
Okay. Well, clearly something's wrong with two of the cushions on the sofa.
Did we already explain that you're a fire dancer?
I'm not looking at anybody.
No one fire dances indoors. That's absurd.
You're drunk all the time anyway.
You're twice as drunk and half as attractive.
Cool.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We're done. Come back when you can learn to behave.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So you were paying her $785 a month.
I thought it was $550 a month, and the
I bet
extra
you made a
money I thought
mistake.
was for
but
utilities.
you made a mistake.
Why would you do that twice?
$780. You're doing it again.
I'm sorry, I won't do it
You're
anymore.
doing it again.
And later today,
How much money did he give you?
$200
He picked up the trailer, and in exchange for the trailer, he gave you $200.
for initial payment.
You have that in the contract?
It was all verbal.
Well, that's a problem.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
in a case recall from earlier today, Lauren Glenn says ex-girlfriend Brittany Kittredge owes for rent and a burned couch. Brittany is countersuing, also for property damage.
Judge, this is recall case number 137 in the matter of Glenn versus Kittredge. Parties are reminded you're still under oath.
Are you ladies ready to comport yourselves appropriately?
Yes,
Yes, Your Honor.
So sorry.
Good, good, great. Okay, so when we left off, you owe her $1,100 for 2 months' rent, the month of April that you didn't pay and the month of May that you didn't pay, and you were there part of the month of May. Now let's talk about the burnt couch. Do you have any proof that, look at me, do you have any proof that the defendant caused whatever damage exists to the two cushions on your couch?
I have a couple of text messages where she doesn't deny doing it.
That's not enough.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I read those text messages.
Yes.
Do you have any other text messages?
She called me and told me that.
That what?
It happened. She said that, yes, I burnt it. You deserved it.
No, I don't believe that. Okay, she owes you $1,100 for rent. Now, when did you get home from your being away?
May 13th.
So the day after she moved out?
Yes.
You came home on May 13th. Now, do you have the bill from the locksmith?
I do not have the bill from the
On
locksmith.
what date did you call the locksmith?
I called him as soon as I came home, and I realized the
Just a
box-
second.
Okay.
You called him on the 13th?
Yes.
And tell me why you called the locksmith on the 13th.
Because I realized the couches were burned, and she refused to come and get her things. So
And she was what?
She refused to come and get her things.
Okay, so now she doesn't owe you for May's rent because you locked her out in mid-May. She owes you for April's rent. That's $550.
It's $785, actually.
How much rent did she pay you in March of 2015?
$785.
I have a
Just a second.
number.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, she says $550. You say her share was $785. Now, your entire rent on the apartment is what?
Our entire rent was, I think,
No, now you've been living. Listen to me, Miss Glenn. Now you've been living there by yourself. You should not have to think about what your rent is. That's very easy to find out from your landlord. How much is your rent?
I have a copy of our payments.
I'd like to see it.
I'm so sorry. It's $1,570.
Okay, so you were paying her $785 a month.
I thought that the total rent was $1,100, and it was $550 a month, and the
And
extra
that you made a
money I thought
mistake.
was for
but
utilities.
you made a mistake.
Why would you do that twice?
$780. You're doing it again.
I'm sorry. I won't do it
You're
anymore.
doing it again.
Sorry.
$785. That's what she owes you for the month of April. Month of May, you locked her out. She doesn't pay you anything for May. Now, let's talk about your counterclaim.
Yes, please.
When you changed the keys and locked her out, I want you to look at me, Miss Glenn. I want you to tell me what you put outside. You acknowledge that you put her stuff outside.
I do,
what
yes.
Specifically? TV.
Yes.
Where did you put it?
I put it on our porch.
This is a condo or a private house? What is it?
It's like a house that's made into 2 condos.
Okay, so you put the TV outside. I'll see the bill for the TV. What else did you put outside?
I believe I put some of her boots and a guitar outside.
What else?
I think like a mitt and some clothes.
I have pictures of the other things if you would like to see them.
I'll take a look at it. What's wrong with the guitar?
Oh, it got rained on and it doesn't work anymore, and it was all scratched. Like all of my stuff got rained on because I didn't know she put it outside, or I would have came and got it.
There's a text
Just
message.
a second. Here we go. Here we go. You're not following the
I'm so
drill.
sorry.
Sorry.
She put your stuff outside on the 13th of May. On what date did you come back to get it?
I think it was the 15th.
Did you ask for a police escort?
No, I didn't. I had my friend go with me. I didn't know that all my stuff was going to be outside. I thought I would just go and get my stuff.
Okay. Now, I'd like to see the text message that you were telling me about. You sent her a text message that you put her stuff outside?
I did, Your Honor.
I'd like to
Yes,
take
sir.
a look at it. Okay. So, Miss Glenn, she lives there just like you do. She had lived there for a year, according to rent, for the time that she lived there,
Yes,
with
Your
the
Honor.
exception of the month of April. You have no right to put her out. There is no legal basis for you to put her out. By changing the locks and disposing of her stuff and putting it outside and rendering it subject to inclement weather, you are totally responsible for any damage that was done to the property.
She didn't pay me rent, so technically she didn't live there, right?
You just told me she paid you $785
Yeah,
a
but
month
not for the months prior to that.
No, she's still a tenant.
Okay.
And there are still avenues to go through, not throwing her stuff out on the street. That's not what you do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
And May 2nd of 2015 is when it was reported stolen, when I noticed that it was stolen.
Just a second. Just a second. It's not stolen. The trailer belonged to his father, period. Sold. You're not getting the trailer back.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lauren Glynn says, Ex-girlfriend Brittany Kittredge owes for rent and a burned couch. Brittany is countersuing, also for property damage.
Okay, so the TV, bills for the guitar?
Yeah, and there.
Guitar Center was, I can't read this.
I think it's $496. And I didn't have receipts for everything that was out there because I had it for a long time, so.
Well, she owed you $785 for the month of April's rent. I'm deducting that from what you owe her for her damaged property. So I'm dismissing your claim, and on the counterclaim, I'm awarding you $2,600. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, you're excused. You may step out.
Justice was served.
She totally owes me for rent, at least. Like the couch. Obviously she did.
She cheated on me.
She's seen a lady or two as well. Don't let her fool you.
Don't ever date a beautiful fire dancer.
She's a fun girl. Like, I'd like to be friends with her. Maybe. Down the line.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Espin versus Lee. Step forward.
Richard Espin is suing his friend's ex-husband, Robert Lee, for the return or value of farm equipment.
It is your claim that the defendant has certain property that was purchased by your father.
It is correct.
From Mr. Lee's then wife, certain farm equipment.
Correct.
Mr. and Mrs. Lee are now divorced. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when your father passed away, you inherited the responsibility of going through all of that. Your father made an agreement with Mrs. Lee to purchase 2 pieces of a truck and a baler or something.
It was a trailer and a round bale hauler, and the proof that I have is witness testimony and a receipt.
A receipt from whom?
My witness, Mrs. Lee.
Okay, who is that? You? Okay. Mrs. Lee, can you tell me when you sold Mr. Espin's father this property?
We made the agreement in November of 2012.
Okay. Tell me the circumstances of the agreement. What were you selling him and for what price?
His father had wanted a cattle trailer and a round bale buggy, and I agreed to go ahead and sell it.
Were you neighbors?
No, we were really good friends. He had poor health, and I'm a home health registered nurse, so we had a very close relationship.
Also, Your Honor, we live in a small community.
Okay. And this property that you sold to him was on the property where you lived with your husband?
Yes, at that time.
And how much did you sell the property for?
A total of $1,400.
Did you receive the money from him?
I received partial payment.
That's in 2012.
2013 is when he came and picked up the cattle trailer is when he made a payment.
Just a second. You picked up the cattle trailer.
2013, after the land had dried up because it was real rainy and you couldn't get back there.
He picked up the trailer in May of 2013.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much money did he give you?
$200.
And how much was this buggy?
The cattle trailer for $900 and the buggy was $500.
So he only gave you $200. Why?
Well, he was a disabled vet, and we was really good friends. And
whatever. He picked up the trailer, and in exchange for the trailer, he gave you $200
for initial payment.
You have that in the contract?
It was all verbal.
Well, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, so in exchange for that, you got $200. Now, in May of 2013, was your divorce pending?
No, we were still together.
And do you now have the trailer?
I have the stock trailer, but not the hay buggy.
Great. So you own a trailer that was in your father's possession at the time of his death. And as far as I know, unless you have evidence to the contrary, there was no order prohibiting anybody from selling that property.
There is, Your Honor.
Okay. In the divorce proceeding, what's the date of that order?
December 16th is when it was, November 2014 is when it was, we went to court.
This was sold before.
No, ma'am.
You say no, ma'am. Just a minute.
We split in 2012 of July.
I don't care. That's not relevant.
Right. I was on the pipeline, and May 2nd of 2015 is when it was reported stolen, when I noticed that it was stolen.
Just a second.
There's no place
Just a
to
second. It's not stolen. Let me put the trailer to rest. The trailer belonged to his father at the time of his death. He had paid $200 for it, period. Sold. You're not getting the trailer back. That's gone. Now, the only thing that we have to discuss is this hay buggy. The hay buggy is on your farm?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay any money for it?
Yes, I did.
To whom?
I paid it to my witness, Miss Lee.
Great. In what month and year?
That was in May of 2015 is when I solidified the debt that my father owed.
Very, very good. Then you sue her for the money back because he's keeping his hay buggy. Do you understand? Do you understand? Listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
The trailer is yours. He's not giving you any property. If you paid her any money, I suggest you sue her. Perfect. We're done. Thank you.
Your Honor, can you look at my evidence?
Listen to me very carefully, sir. The trailer belonged to his father. You're not getting it back. The hay buggy is on your property where you live. It's yours. If he paid money for a hay buggy that his father doesn't have because he solidified the debt 3 years later, then let him sue the person who he gave the money to because she can't deliver the property. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
We're done. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, I was just trying to do the right thing by taking care of my father's debt.
My ex-wife had no right to sell it.
He was well aware of the sale. He was even there to open the gate to let the gentleman in to get the stuff.
I was in Oklahoma at the time.
It's vindictive behavior towards me because he's got so much anger.
For her to move.
Have it in writing.
Her dog's biting my dog, and I threw a kick out, and she started screaming and yelling at me.
A neighbor tries to get the last laugh.
You filed for this protective order. That is such a crock of nonsense. I would have thrown you out and told you to go see a therapist. Miss Morris?
No, I did not.
For wiping grins off faces.
Hopefully the city will put a lien on your house.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Tracy Franks is suing her neighbor, Diana Morris, for vet bills and lost wages due to a dog attack. She is also suing for an assault and false charges.
Order. All rise. This is case number 151 on the calendar in the matter of Franks versus Morris.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Franks, are you and Miss Morris neighbors?
Yes, we are.
You live in adjacent houses?
We live approximately 2 blocks away.
For how long?
Approximately going on 4 years now.
Prior to this incident that involved your car in October of last year, did you have any other incidents with Miss Morris?
Yes, I have.
When did they start and about what?
Approximately October 2014, I was walking my dogs and I passed her house and she was approaching in her Jeep, I guess parking in her garage, which is in the alley access. And she was coming, her Pomeranians, and then it retreated back to the Jeep and she backed up.
We're not talking about the date of the incident that brings us here.
No, this is one prior
So
incident.
this is prior. This was a year before.
Yes, yes. The dog jumped out one other time. No attack, no nothing. Retreated back into the automobile. And then I turned around, went the other way, and proceeded home.
You had no conversation with her?
No.
No conversation.
Never seen her in person, ever.
So in the 4 years, this incident was the first one that you had before the incident that you're complaining of today?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And so I was again then walking my dogs, and as I was walking my dogs, she was out watering her hibiscus on her porch, and she started screaming and yelling at me, obscenities, telling me not to walk by her house. Her dogs were barking. My dogs were barking. I couldn't really hear a whole lot, so I said it was a free country. You never apologized for the first incident of your dog jumping out, and I continued on. And then on Halloween, which was Saturday, the 31st, I was walking my dogs again, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I come around the block up my street, and I could hear as I was passing by, usually the dogs are running back and forth across the fence. And this time I didn't hear that. I heard the dogs confined to her garage area. And I continued down my road going home. She then came north in her big Jeep with big mud tires and veered all the way across the street, ran up on somebody's property, did a 180 around me. I had my dogs. I didn't know if I was getting ran over. My dogs, I was pulling them in.
Is what you're telling me she was home and went and got the dogs?
I believe that the dogs were confined in the garage and she was at home and waiting for me. She could probably hear me coming because all the dogs in the neighborhood bark at one another when you're walking them. So I think she was ready for me to come. And at that time, when I came around the corner and she came with the Jeep, she came up, hopped these people's property, did a 180, parked like as if she was going to wash her car on their property. And at that time, the dog had jumped out from behind me.
What kind of dog?
She has cattle dogs, Australian Shepherds, or...
How did they get out of the car?
I didn't have my top on at the time. I took it off for the summer and then hadn't put it on yet.
How many do you have?
I have 4.
Okay, go ahead.
And as she approached the curb, I had my dogs. I was raking them in on their retractable leashes, pulling them in. At the same time behind me, one jumped out, and I was watching her come around, making over, and she got up on that, and at the same time, her dog's biting my dog, and I threw a kick out and almost fell down, and she's cussing and screaming at me, telling me not to be walking my dogs by her place, anything like that, and I ran around, and I got her license plate from the back because there was not a front one. I ran home, called 911 at 1:10 and let them know what had happened. And she called 911 at 5:30 and claimed that it happened 20 minutes ago.
Okay. Do you have the reports, police reports?
I actually have the recordings.
Yeah, I would actually like to see the report if you have it.
I have numerous reports.
The one that came in at 1:10.
The one at 1:10 they did not give me, but this one on 11:3 it does specify that I did report it, and they came back out to see my dog. It does have the date of 10/31 highlighted on there.
Just a second. This date is what date?
11/3 I called animal control.
3 days later?
Yes, the incident happened on Saturday. Then I waited until Monday to take my dog to the vet and had to go to work and called animal control and the police station. And it states the 31st it happened.
I'd like to see the vet's write-up because you claimed that your dog was bitten. I'd like to see that.
The picture?
I'd like to see any evidence that you have of a dog bite.
It's all the pictures.
No, just show me the picture of the dog's injury and the vet report.
Okay, vet report. Here's the report.
This wasn't a bite. This is not a picture of a bite. Let's understand each other. The vet did surgery, but the vet did surgery on this dog for something else.
No, I have a prior picture of the abscess on that swelled up.
I want to see a picture on the 31st of a dog bite on your dog's face. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I completely understand what you're saying.
Well, then let's get to it.
There was no blood. It has, if you look at the bottom of the report of the vet bill, it does state that it was a puncture wound on the face of the dog, and that's what swelled up.
Well, there was
just no blood.
I need a report from a vet. Injury to the dog. I don't see any injury to the dog. Am I missing something?
The swelling on the side.
Am I missing something? Do you see any injury to the dog?
Not really. I just see swelling on that side.
Swelling?
At the bottom of the vet bill, it states that it was from a puncture wound.
I see what's typed in here.
Yes.
In a different type than the rest of the report.
That's from the Mays Animal Hospital. You could call him directly if you wanted to.
I'm not going to call him directly.
I didn't add that on there.
I'm not going to call him directly. You have a police report? Did you pay this fine, Miss Morris?
No, I did not.
Why?
Because they're false. Well, the thing is, he never comes out. I never get a warning. I just get the fines in the mail. I appealed it.
And what happened?
They assessed the order, and I tried to appeal the order. They keep on refusing my appeal.
So you have to pay this fine. Your dogs can't be out.
Well, they weren't out. They were actually in the Jeep with me.
No, they weren't. They weren't in the Jeep with you. They were out of your control on at least 2 occasions. Because I'm not sure about the nexus between the abscess that the dog had and what happened with your dog. I'm not sure, because certainly your dogs, and my dog was bitten on a Saturday. I would not wait till Monday to go to a vet.
I was unemployed.
I don't care. On Monday you went. Did you get a job between Saturday and Monday?
No, my mother paid for it.
She would have paid for it on Saturday, too.
Yeah.
You went, you know, you have an answer for everything. Just like your mom paid for it on Monday, mom would have paid for it on Sunday.
I know.
Oh, I know.
ER's expensive.
So that doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
You understand?
No, I understand.
That doesn't excuse the fact that you can't drive around with your Jeep without the top on it, with your dogs, not under your control, so that they can scare people.
Well, they usually don't jump out unless I get out, but with the first incident that she mentioned in 2014, I didn't even know she even existed until June of last year. That's when she started coming around. I've seen her a few times at 3 o'clock in the morning when I've come home. She has passed my house, and I said, who is this lady walking around?
Did you file a restraining order against her?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see the basis for your restraining order.
Okay.
That's part of her lawsuit. Do you own your own home?
Yes, I do.
The city's going to put a lien on it. On your home.
Yeah, they've already threatened me, yes.
No. Yeah, but they ought to do it.
They've called me.
They ought to do it. So now what I'm reading, police complaint you filed for this protective order that is such a crock of nonsense that if I was sitting in court, I would have thrown you out and told you to go see a therapist. Actually, I would have. I would have said, you know, this is a courthouse. You want the medical office someplace else. You're disturbed because she walks by your house with her dogs at all hours of the day and night trying to annoy you. And did somebody actually give you a temporary restraining order?
No, I knew it wasn't going to,
Just a second. So they didn't give you a temporary restraining order. I have faith, again, in the legal system.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
she had a problem with one of my friends because they were with the same guy, basically, and they didn't like that. And she was screaming at her. Well, when she saw me, that's when she approached me. In my driver's side mirror, I saw her kick my car.
May I see the police report?
Yes, ma'am.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tracy Frank says neighbor Diana Morris owes for vet bills, lost wages, an assault, and false charges. Diana's countersuing for harassment.
Now, you did serve her.
Yes, I did.
Is that correct? Now, hopefully the city will put a lien on your house. Hopefully, because you can't just keep ignoring that and you can't abuse the system. You don't like that she walks in your alleyway? That's too bad. Insulate your house with material so that you don't hear it.
Well, Your Honor, she's actually made noise with her dogs 3, 4, 5 in the morning, waking up neighbors.
I'm not granting you any money on the vet bill because I'm not satisfied, to my satisfaction, that her dog bit your dog, not based on the proof that you give me today. It's possible that your dog had a throat abscess. It's possible. That throat abscess didn't develop in a 48-hour period. Otherwise, you would have a more complete and fulsome report from the vet. So I'm really not satisfied that there was any injury. But I am compelled, because one of the things you're suing her for is for filing a false restraining order, and that she did. And did you respond to it?
Yes.
Did you have to go to court?
Yes, I did during
$1,500 judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Oh, my God, because she's a liar.
I had no issues with her.
I didn't know she was alive. I didn't even know she lived in the neighborhood until she started coming around.
When somebody wants to try to run me over, I feel they need to pay for their consequences.
Judge Judy says I need psychiatric help.
So she does need the psychiatric help.
I think it's Tracy that needs it, not me.
And Hall versus Cabrera. Step forward.
22-year-old Ashley Hall is suing her former friend, 20-year-old Marissa Cabrera, for damaging her car when she kicked it.
Ms. Hall, you knew the defendant from high school, and it is your claim that after a night in a bar where you allege, at least, that Ms. Cabrera, who's underage for drinking, was drunk, she vandalized your car by kicking it.
Yes.
And you want her to fix the car. Ms. Cabrera denies that she kicked your car. She has a countersuit for filing a false police report. and online bullying. So let's get to the evening that this happened. This was on July 31st of last year.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of the bar?
Stampede.
How old are you?
22.
And you?
20.
Did you go to the bar with your ID or somebody else's ID?
With my ID.
Did you drink at all when you were there?
I didn't.
No alcohol?
No.
Now, the two of you had some negative history in high school. Yes. What was that?
We actually were friends in high school. It happened when I came back from college after my second year. I didn't like how she was presenting herself at the bar. She would be rude to people. She would be promiscuous, make out with two different guys the same night. I didn't want that reputation.
Did you have an argument about it?
I tried confronting her about it. She denied it. So I just told her, look.
Tell me now what happened on the 31st of July.
The 31st, we showed up with different friends. 3 of my friends met up with me. She came with her friends. We tried avoiding them. They tried egging us on, flipping their hair.
No, just a second. Why were you avoiding them? Did your friends have problems with
We've
her
had
friends?
problems with them before.
Okay, is that because they're younger, or is that...
We just didn't like how they presented themselves, and they would bully people.
Okay, so you try to stay away.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And after we got out of the bar about 1:30, 2 o'clock when it closed, she had a problem with one of my friends because they were with the same guy, basically, and they didn't like that. And she was screaming at her. Well, when she saw me, that's when she approached me with one of her witnesses, Lexi. They started yelling at me. I told them, I don't understand why you're so caught up in this. I don't want to be friends with you. It's not a big deal. I don't have anything against you. I just want to be away from the drama. And that's when people were yelling at me, telling me, just get in your car. So that's what I did. And in my driver's side mirror, I saw her kick my car. And I have the police report where 2 other girls that I wasn't friends with.
May I see the police report?
Yes, ma'am. And that's the receipt as well.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Can you think of any reason why she would tell the police that you kicked the plaintiff out for you if the police asked her?
Correct.
Now you can tell me why you think this person who was your friend would lie to the police.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Hall says former friend Marissa Cabrera vandalized her vehicle after a night out at a bar. Marissa is countersuing for harassment, a false police report, and online bullying.
What's your last name?
Owen.
Yours?
Cabrera.
What's your last name?
Mosbacher.
Miss Gehring isn't here.
No, ma'am. She had work.
Just admit she's not here.
Okay.
Now, when you left that evening after this incident in the parking lot, which there was an incident in the parking lot, correct?
Yes.
You left with Miss Gehring.
Correct.
Had you come to the bar with Miss Gehring?
We all came as a group, yes.
You and your group included Miss Gehring. Is not an answer.
Correct, yes.
How many cars were used?
2.
Did you drive?
Yes, I did. I drove me and Alexis.
How many people were in your car?
2 coming and 2 going.
Name the other 2 people in the car. Coming.
It was me and Alexis.
Alexis what?
Owen, my witness.
And going home?
Me and Gehring.
So she was a friend of yours?
Correct.
Can you think of any reason car?
Me and...
So the answer would be yes. You can think of a reason.
Yes, I could.
That your friend that day, when interviewed by the police, told them that you kicked the plaintiff's car and that she told you she would not lie for you if the police asked her.
Correct.
Now you can tell me why you think this person who was your friend would lie to the police.
Gehring and me have had problems in high school. We've had a patchy friendship, I could say, and as she has been with everybody else. She's been off and on with every one of her friends. They used to call her a rent-a-friend. That's how she is.
Well, that's not a reason for her to lie about you committing a crime.
I did not commit a crime. I did not kick Ashley's car.
Well, you're not following my question. The reason that you're giving me for why the person that you chose after this altercation to leave the premises with, who was questioned by the police the next day, who came with you was with your group, when asked by the police, didn't say, I didn't see anybody kick the car. I don't know who kicked the car. She said, you kicked the car. And she told you that night that if the police asked her, she would tell them the truth. So that's the answer you're giving me. Because, yeah, sometimes she's your friend, sometimes she's other people's friends. That's the answer that you're giving me.
And she feeds off of drama. So if there's any incident that night, not because, like, we're really good friends, because we aren't. I took her home because she needed a ride home. That's why.
continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. May I see pictures of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see an estimate for the damage replacement? Good. We're done. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600.
Your Honor,
Thank
what
you.
about
That's
the
it.
counterclaim?
We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She was drunk and intoxicated that night, and she just, I guess, didn't like the fact that I didn't want to be friends with her.
Well, because obviously she's always had problems with me, jealousy or whatever it may be since high school.
She kicked it while I was getting in, and she had cowboy boots on. That's why there's a big dent.
Her normal self, trying to pick a fight, probably just to get money.
When I left to go back to college.
I will never speak to that girl again.
He was supposed to stay 300 feet away from him at all times.
He says a restraining order couldn't stop his cousin.
I seen Anna grab something from Patricia, and Anna was coming towards my car.
And has called to 911.
I heard something.
Paints a vivid picture.
I heard what appeared to be a crash. Was the window smashed?
That's when they threw the rock.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Billy Dye is suing his former friend, Pat Bailey Mangroom, and Pat's friends, Anna and Shondell Coppage, for vandalizing his car.
Order. All rise. Now, it's case number 161 on the calendar, matter of Dye versus Bailey Mangroom Coppage.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Mr. Dye, Miss Mangrew was your cousin.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
According to you, you got Miss Mangrew a job at the same place where you were working.
Yes, ma'am.
According to you, your cousin was promoted to a better job at the same company.
Yes, Judge.
And this lady, whose last name is Coppage, and you're her husband.
Correct.
This lady also works at the same company.
Yes, Judge.
But you do not.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, something happened, and you lost your job.
I actually quit because there was too much.
Your Honor, he did not. He was actually terminated.
Don't speak unless I'm speaking to you. And it is your claim that all three of these defendants vandalized your car.
Yes, Judge.
Now, you say in your complaint that you were granted a protective order
Yes, Judge.
against Miss Mangrew.
Yes, Judge.
Do you have a copy of that?
I don't. I went to the No, ma'am.
You don't. Did you have a trial?
Yes.
And at the end of the trial, did you get a protective order?
Yes, you got granted for the 2 years.
Is that correct?
Only in part. His order of protection got granted only because I was unable to show. I had one against him.
No. Did he get an order of protection against you for 2 years?
Yes.
Do you have any of the paperwork with regard to the protective order?
This is the one I brought with me.
Well, I'd like to see it.
There you go.
And then, Bird, while I'm looking at this, I'd like to see the order.
Thank you.
Okay, got it. There was, in fact, a default. You were granted a protective order for 2 years.
Yes.
You were supposed to stay 300 feet away from him at all times, and you were supposed to refrain from exercising any contact with him, including through social media. Okay, now, an incident occurred according to you, on March 25th of this year. First involving Miss Mangrew and Miss Coppage.
Yes, Judge.
Just the two ladies. Tell me what happened.
What happened is I currently work at McDonald's. I was heading to work, and when I was driving down Broadway at the corner of Broadway and 6th Street, there was a stoplight. I had to stop because it was a red light.
What time?
It was around 6:45.
In the morning?
At night. In the afternoon, yes, Judge. And I was looking through my side window because, it was to my left. I seen Anna grab something from Patricia.
Did you see, were they on foot or?
They were actually standing outside in front of Metro PCS.
Your Honor, that's not what the police state reports.
Just a second. I told you before, don't interrupt him. I get back to you. Don't interrupt him. They were standing in front of what's PCS?
Metro PCS Wireless.
That's where they worked.
Yes, ma'am. That's where they work.
What were you going past there for?
I was heading to work.
And you have to pass that place to go to work in
If I go down, it's all one way if I have to go.
Okay. It's a block and a half away.
Yes, from Metro PCS.
In what town do you live, sir?
Rockford, Illinois.
How many McDonald's are there?
There's several.
Well, why do you work in one that's a block and a half away from Miss Mangrew?
Because I live right a block from Metro PCS.
Well, if you live a block away, what were you in your car for?
Because I was driving to work. I don't walk because the problems that I'm having with these people, I don't trust anything to do with them because that's why I stay away. I rather drive and to walk. If I walk, something else might seriously happen.
Okay. So now you're driving to work and you see the two ladies who were in front of their place of employment.
Yes.
And you saw them do what?
I seen Anna grab something from Patricia, and Anna was coming towards my car. So I couldn't go anywhere because the stoplight was there. So I'm like, I almost ran the light, because I'm like, I'm gonna prevent from anything happening. Well, when the light turned green, Anna squirted something all over my car. I have a picture showing that they squirted mustard all over my car. When I was driving, I smelled something very sour, bitter. I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope this is not mustard on my white car. A picture showing where there's mustard squirted on my car.
I'd like to see it. Okay.
So what I did is,
what did you do?
I pulled a block down the street where the dollar store is. I pulled over, I called the police.
Okay. Do you have a police report?
I actually had when they actually damaged my car. And this happened right after I called for the mustard. What happened was when the police came out and see my car.
Don't tell me what anybody saw. Okay, well, this police report had to do with the second event that involved Mr. Copage.
Yes, it involved all three.
Okay. All right. So now I want you to tell me about the second incident. That also happened on the same date.
It was right after the mustard. The police officers told me to go wash my car if it was stained or anything. Come back to where I was sitting, call the police, and they'll just file criminal damage.
Okay.
So I was rubbing it really hard to see if it come off. Well, it was coming off. By the time I was actually calling dispatch, and actually I had the 911 right here is when I was calling them. Anna and Patricia was walking across the street, coming into the dollar store. They walked up to the dollar store's door, and then they came back, walked by my car. They split up. When Patricia split up and walked to the side of Family Dollar.
Did you say anything to her?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything because I just wanted to keep the problems minimum. I was just waiting for the police to come.
You had called the police?
I have called the police. The thing is, I was calling the police to say, you know what, I'm getting the mustard off. I was scrubbing it really hard to rub it off. At that time, I was calling dispatch. That's when I seen them approaching, coming across the street.
Did you say anything?
I don't want any problem. I just wanted to stay.
Just a second. Well, did you tell the police that they were coming back?
When I was on the audio right here, you can hear where it says that they're coming across now.
I'd like to hear that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually my phone the girl that actually did it in the car, she's actually walking by the car, calling me. And now she's walking to my car. What's her date of birth? I don't know. Only thing I found out is when I'm listening to when I'm in the court records and I seen it. Actually, they were coming to my car and smashed my window.
They had already smashed the window. They'd already smashed the window because I heard something.
Yes.
Turn it off. Turn it off. While you were on the phone with the police, I heard what appeared to be a crash. Was it then that your window was broken?
Yeah, that's when they threw the rock.
Okay.
Yes,
fine.
Judge.
Very good. Now, that's
all. I have a witness here that was, apparently when I went back the last week, she approached me and asked me if I was okay, and she's seen part of it when it was...
Did you know her before?
No, ma'am.
No, and she's not mentioned in the report.
What part of be quiet don't you understand? Tell me your name.
Amber.
Tell me the first time that you met him.
It was actually at the dollar store. It was approximately a week after this had happened. I had seen him and asked him if he was okay and if they,
Tell me what you observed on March 25th. Do you work at the dollar store?
No, ma'am. I recently moved to Rockford, and I was loading my stuff into my car, and I heard the commotion and heard the actual hit of the glass.
Did you see who was there? Did you see who was throwing the rocks?
All three of the defendants were there.
Okay, good. Have a seat. Thank you. Now I'll hear you. Your testimony is relatively simple.
Yes.
Listen to me, because you say that none of you could have been present there because you were attending something someplace else.
Yes, and I have that.
Well, I'd like to see it.
Okay. I also have the police report. I don't know if you want to see that.
I do.
And then
well,
also,
I have a police report. I just want to make certain that it's the same police report. I'll take a look.
I have messages too. Sorry.
You also have?
I also have messages from him saying how he will pay someone to beat her. He will like it record. And this is his personal page from Facebook.
Just a second. I'll look at it.
Judge, I deactivated
What is this?
my Facebook a couple months.
Well, give this back to her. It's not evidence.
And you can actually call her.
I don't have to call anybody. It's not evidence. It's nonsense. This is May 30th. This is after the event, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I have this police report. Now, can I see the estimate for your damage, please?
Yes, Judge.
Yeah.
There you go.
You have absolutely no proof that you weren't there.
And Judge?
You have no proof that you weren't.
You can actually call her. I was in the Chicagoland area.
Listen to me. If you have a witness, you bring a witness.
She can't come.
Well, she can't come. I believe her.
Okay,
absolutely, and I believe that. And I believe this.
For actually the harassment and lost wages.
Just a second. And I believe this.
Judge.
Shh, quiet. I believe that.
And also,
I
she
don't,
was not here.
How do you know she wasn't there? Just
because
a second.
I actually have messages in my phone from his sister-in-law that just sent me this last night in my phone talking about her, that he told his own brother how he smashed his own window. I just received this message from his sister-in-law
last night.
Just a second. No. That's hearsay.
Okay.
And then I also have about my countersuit, all the harassment he has been doing to me since January. Lost wages going back and forth to court since February.
That was issued in
just the countersuit.
I'm speaking.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
It would be disgusting of you as a child to let your mother live in a bad apartment, right?
Yes.
So it must be okay.
Okay, yes.
Good. Now, just a second. I'm not talking to you. You're the defendant.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Billy Dye says former friend Pat Bailey Mangroom and Pat's friends, Anna and Shondell Coppage, vandalized his vehicle. The defendants are countersuing for harassment and lost wages.
Now, you want to do away with a protective order that was issued for 2 years in March because of some excuse, again, that you have why you couldn't be there, why someone else, another witness that you had couldn't be there. Then you go back to the court and say, this is the proof that I have. I was hospitalized. I was incapacitated with the flu. Whatever excuse you think will persuade the judge to open up that protective order. Other than that, I'm not hearing your counterclaim. Do you understand?
All he's doing is harassing me because I wouldn't rehire him. He even said in these
Judgment
messages.
for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,170.
He's going to harassing me again.
They step out.
He did it himself. He sat there and told everyone on social media.
Never.
I kicked my own window in just so I could try to get some money out of her and throw her in jail.
Never told anyone that I broke a window or anything. I would never break my own car window that I really cherish to have.
That's how crazy he is.
Because everything right here with my car. It hurts me.
And now all he's doing is continuing to sit here in court and make these lies and allegations to try to just discredit my name.
Because I worked very hard for something that I paid for.
I guess karma is really going to get him in the end.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Connolly versus Romero. Step forward.
John and Suzanne Connolly are suing their former tenant, Veronica Romero, for rent and property damage.
You are landlords in a building.
We are.
And you rented to this lady. She was your tenant, according to your papers, for 17 years. Is that correct?
That's incorrect.
How long?
We rented to her grandmother for approximately 15 years, and she's still a tenant.
This lady?
No, that is her sister.
Who is she?
She is my current tenant's sister.
Daughter. She's my mother.
That's my mother. My grandmother rents from them currently.
Great. Could you stand up, please? Tell me your last name.
Hernandez.
Ms. Hernandez, your mother for 15 years?
Correct.
And in all of those 15 years, have you ever moved to evict her mother?
No.
She's been a good tenant.
She has.
Pays her rent on time.
She does.
Apartment is kept in good order.
It is.
No. Just a second. I'm not asking you anything. Would you let your mother live in a bad apartment? Look at me.
No.
You wouldn't. Right, because that would be disgusting of you as a child to let your mother live in a bad apartment, right?
Yes.
So she's been living in this apartment for 15 years, so it must be okay.
Okay, yes.
Good.
Well,
Good.
let him know about
just
the
a second.
damages, Mom.
I'm not talking to you. You're the defendant. Because for 15 years they rented to your grandmother, who was a good tenant. Then they rented to you, and they rented to you what month and year?
June 1st, 2015.
And at that time you were 17 years old?
No.
How old were you?
Me, currently, I'm 32.
Oh, you're 32?
Yeah. I wish I was 17 again.
Me too.
No.
Me too.
That'd be nice.
June of 2015.
Yep.
And when did you move out?
I left January 11th. There's a text message. that I
January,
received.
just a second,
Yeah.
January 11th, 2016.
Yeah.
Left approximately, Judge Judy, on
March 3rd.
March 3rd without any notice.
Okay, I'd like to know.
I have a 3-day notice.
I understand you have a 3-day notice. That doesn't mean you left.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
That means that you got a 3-day notice to leave in
And
January.
I did.
But that doesn't mean you left.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you have proof of that?
I
I'd like
don't
to-
have my bank statements.
Why not?
Because the card that I used to withdraw money was discontinued because I upgraded my debit card. So I couldn't get all the records from that from the bank anymore. So
it's ridiculous.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
John and Suzanne Connolly say former tenant Veronica Romero owes for rent and property damage.
Now, when you moved out of the apartment that they were renting to you, give me the address that you moved to.
I moved to my mother's because he turned off the hot water.
Just a second.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Now, when was the last time you paid the Connollys rent?
December of 2015.
December?
Because I left and moved January 11th.
Just a second.
Yeah.
December of 2013. And how much money did you give them?
$800.
And what about in November? How much rent did you give them in November?
I wasn't late only for December.
I didn't ask you
there
late.
was
Late you didn't pay them because you didn't pay them what you were supposed to. Now I'm back in November.
800.
How much rent did you pay in November?
800.
Do you have proof of that?
Yeah. I
I'd like
don't
to-
have my bank statements.
Why not?
Because the card that I used to withdraw money was discontinued because I upgraded my debit card. So I couldn't get all the records from that from the bank anymore. So
it's ridiculous. Did she pay in November?
She paid us on November, I believe it was the 30th. She paid us $550 to go towards some back rent on some months that she didn't pay us.
When did she stop paying you the full $800 a month?
That would be in August of 2015. She gave us
That's a lie.
$600 on August the 10th.
that's a lie.
All you have to do is show me your bank records. I'm not going to hear you otherwise. Do you
Okay.
understand? Because, Miss Romero, I'm explaining it to you carefully. Your grandmother lived there for 15 years.
I understand, but
she
it
never
was
had
never
she
fixed.
never had
So, yeah.
a rent dispute with them. Which
She
suggest-
never, Judge Judy, honestly, because he
No, don't
talks
tell
to
me.
my grandmother.
Don't tell me.
badly.
Listen to me.
So,
Don't
yeah.
tell me honestly. Your grandmother, does she still live there?
She's still there because
Just a second.
she's
Don't
afraid.
tell me. Mother says she would not let her mother live
How
in.
would you
just to,
let her
she
know
wouldn't let her mother live
how
in
she
a
lives?
situation that was untenable. So your grandmother is still there. They've never moved to evict them, which means there's nothing to suggest, even in your family history, that they're trying to get over.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, how much rent does her grandmother pay?
She pays $850
She's
a
on
month.
Section 8, so she doesn't pay very much at all. She's on housing.
How much does she owe you?
$4,400.
Do you have any proof that you made those payments in the amount of $4,400?
I don't owe him that because on here it says I only owe $800 and $200 was from December that I owed. and $800 here. This is a 3-day notice he gave to me after he harassed me and my mom.
Judgment for the
who is
plaintiff
sick.
in the amount of $4,400. We're done.
Excuse me.
We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Former brother, the last payment, and he knew that.
He made almost $7,000 worth of payments on this truck, and you hustled him.
Next Judge Judy.
I've learned that you have to trust your instincts, and I knew when she walked into my office
He pretty much lied about me paying that much rent.
that I was dealing with somebody that I really didn't want to, but because of her grandmother, which has been an absolute doll.
He's harassed me and my